unfortunately, everyone, it's finally got to him. We've lost him.
I can't believe this funny freaking crap!
Okay, now he's gone. Now he's dead.
Still comes freaking
You're just having seizures now, aren't you, Shad?
I can recover.
You can do it.
I can do this. Gosh. Whew. I don't think I've ever experienced as much pain watching a show before, Nathan.
No? Worse than She-Hulk?
This was something special. Wow. The whole series is something special. There's always one thing each episode which just makes me freaking want to lose my brain. And you might guess what it was this episode if you've had the misfortune of watching.
I'm shocked, though, that they managed to, every episode, like a lot of it will be just absolutely nothing, and they have one thing that strikes our nerves every single time without, it's like they do it on purpose.
I know. And this one was particularly, sensitive. It's a sore spot for me. Wonder what it might involve.
Boats, maybe. The sea is always right, even out of context.
It's amazing. Don't fight with your hands, fight with your feet.
She's been, a warrior for centuries.
Yes, for centuries. And this is her advice on how to fight.
She knows what she's doing.
I was saying how much they were desperate to justify Galadriel's motivations. There's like a revelation in regards to the elves, which just came out of friggin' nowhere. It's like...
And kind of contradicts what they were saying the first episode, where they were just saying, Galadriel, shut off, just go away.
I know. What's their friggin' plan now? And it turns out that he knew all along. He even says, darkness will override Middle Earth. And I'm like, what, you freaking knew, you stupid bastard.
That's what Galadriel was saying to begin with.
I know.
And he's like, she was right. She was just really annoying. So he...
that would be perfectly in line. It's like, everyone says... What, you mean there is darkness? Of course I knew it was darkness. Why'd you get rid of Galadriel? Have you spoken to Galadriel?
Yeah,
I would have been, yes, perfectly justified. There's solid motivation right there because she is as unlikable as ever. There are such moments in this show where she is two-faced, narcissistic. Like she tries to apologize to someone for, I'm sorry for using you, but now let me try and manipulate and use you.
But even her apology was... I'm sorry that I used you. Anyways, can I please use you for this next thing I got going on? She can't act in this regard. Yeah. We've seen her in interviews and stuff, but when she's trying to play this badass woman character, she just does this mopey, you have not seen what I have seen. There's a it's all the same mono thing. And yeah, whenever she tries to be sincere or anything humane at all,
it doesn't work.
I want to know how many pages today, guys.
So I have 5 pages today, but these are 5 full pages.
Oh yeah, I've got 5 pages, but mine are a bit bigger.
Bit big.
But lots of caps.
So there are those things that we mentioned about, desperate to justify certain things, new things come out of nowhere, contradicting previous plots in a big way. Horrible choreography to the point where I've actually flipped out audibly multiple times. I think I just need to do a full fight scene autopsy on that scene alone.
That's a Shadowverse video right there.
That is
Would you say it's the worst you've seen of all time?
So it's up there. It is in Last Jedi territory bad. As to which one... Oh, it's hard to say because this one's shorter than The Last Jedi, but people will, sorry, frustrated, they will love it for the same reason Last Jedi, because they're not seeing how stupid so much of these moves are.
And it was just Galadriel's moment to show how cool she is.
And she's just kind of dancing around doing these really stupid movements, horrible stances, and everyone around her needs to flail around and look like just an incompetent flailing buffoon to let her get her girl power moment, and they're telegraphing the strikes and being stupid. People standing behind her with a sword, doing nothing while she's dead open.
And then, actually, no, we'll wait until we actually get into that, because even the ending of that segment is stupid with the challenge, and then who ends up getting it anyways.
And then her instruction on how to sword fight, that made me flip out. I can't believe it's like who'd they get to consult? Obviously no one, because
No one.
any
No one
half competent swordsman would know she's just spitting bullcrap. So they just had stuntmen flying around who doesn't know how to sword fight.
It was all the writing team, I think, in regards to what they were saying and doing. Like, there was nothing, no consultation at all from anyone.
Yeah, it is. Oh, wow. And so overall, I would probably, we're still in like 2 out of 10. You might be able to push it to 3 at most, but that's almost generous for like.
Being the 5th episode, though, I'd give it a 1 because nothing has happened.
Nothing is improving, you're right. And they're building off of a broken foundation with the motivations and what's going forward with it. It's all just crap. So yeah, that's the non-spoiler section. We'll get into the scene-by-scene breakdown now, and we're about to jump into that. But guys, if you like us flipping out over terrible media, well, you know what's also fun? Enjoying good media. and here's a great example. The graphic novel adaptation of my book is out now on Indiegogo. Go check it out. There's a link in the description, I believe. I fronted all the money to produce this. It's ready to go, ready to print, right? And it is... I tried to get the best quality that you can find, right? And so one of the best artists you can get, top quality. Like, look at some of this artwork, right? I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. And also, you can get it in leather bound. So, like, collector edition covers, leather bound art, or if you haven't tried my novel yet, you can also try that because there's also leather bound in the novel and graphic novel. Look at those. Look at those. It's beautiful, beautiful. So I'll bring that down now. As I mentioned, it's on Indiegogo, guys. Some good media, and I hope to do more. I hope to make more graphic novels, comics, and even expand further. It's really dependent on how well this goes. It's going pretty well at the moment. I really appreciate everyone's support, and I can't wait to get you your graphic novels, and I really think you'll enjoy them. Okay, so now let's get to Rings of the Powers of the Rings of the Powers. We need to go full screen. There we go. It starts with these buggers. I hate these people, and I hate them. Every time you see them, I think I hate them more and more.
Yeah, and this one, they don't... Anyway, we'll get into that. But yeah, my first impression was, they didn't forget about them. Last episode, we saw nothing.
Which was great.
It was actually a nice little break. But now they take up a majority of this episode, I think. Although not much happens. Not a majority, but
let's just briefly touch on that about not much happening in the show, period. Because what was achieved in this episode all up? We're in spoilers. So, Half-Foots are traveling, and they don't really get anywhere significant.
No.
All they do is get attacked, wizard protects him, but the wizard might be bad. She goes and she's speaking with Discount Gandalf. Now, I'm not saying that he's definitely going to be Gandalf. He'll be Gandalf or Sauron, Gandalf or Saruman, I'm pretty sure. And I was just thrown by how well this guy's talking. He suddenly is almost having a conversation where previously he knew spit and not much time should have passed. And then I was starting to wonder, like, what was the purpose of whoever sent this wizard guy to Middle-earth, not knowing anything? First sending him in a meteorite and then landing and barely able to communicate. It's like, great plan. I'm sure that'll really help him achieve whatever mission he's supposed to achieve with no memory of what it is and not being able to communicate at all. So, yeah.
Yeah, I too was shocked at how well he was picking up on all these tones. And he was saying things, and then she's like, okay, you understand that. Like, sometimes when you speak a different language or you're learning one, you just repeat it to try and learn how to say it. Mm-hmm. But like when he's saying like, oh, evil, bad, or what was it? Peril or something? Yeah. And she's like, no, you're not that. So we're just practicing the language. Doesn't actually mean that he's implying that, oh, I am perilous, I am bad and evil. Yeah, just language.
Throws you, doesn't make sense, and you can see why they wanted to do it, so they can have a relationship build with the awful Hobbit people, and she can be like, I'm teaching you how to speak, and now we're becoming friends and everything, when you can't think of any other creative way to be friends and just let the guy know language and how to communicate, because then it just is weird now that he's suddenly speaking so well, yet not speaking well, and he seems to understand so much, bizarrely. So, yeah, there's that. I'm grabbing my pencil because I need to mark off.
I also love how in this scene they tell, is it Poppin? What's her name? Poppy? They're like, hey Poppy, sing your dead mother's song. And she's like, oh, I don't want to. No, make us feel better.
Yeah, because your mum's dead.
Yeah.
Remember how she's dead?
Remember how we all left
her to die?
in a winter's rainfall or whatever, like storm? Yeah, just sing her. And also the song is completely contradictory to the half-foot way of staying on the path, staying together, being safe. It was all about going off on the untreaded adventure and doing all these sorts of... No wonder she died. She probably was outcast from her different way of thinking.
Hey, we're getting raided by Gary. That's awesome. Remember last episode? Gary, you can raid me anytime you like. But hang on. What? That didn't sound right. Anyway, it's because Gary from Nerdrotic, he finishes up his stream almost around the same time we start ours. So everyone hot jumps ship and joins us. Love to have you guys. Love Gary. I can't wait to catch up with his review as well. I saw someone's chat. I love Shad's book. Can't wait for the graphic novel. That's right. It's out now. Go check it. Limited time as well, guys. So if you're wanting to secure your copy, grab it as soon as you can. So the other thing, right, when she's talking to the wizard guy, she contextualizes their migratory pattern.
Yeah, I got notes on that too. I just realized.
I want to hear your thoughts too.
So they say they go to a certain place where there's plums and fruit and good things, and they go somewhere else for other stuff. You'd think maybe if you take some seeds with you,
you could just
if you eat some fruit, take some seeds with you, or what frustrates me the most is they say men have their fields and their flocks and whatever. If you're smart enough to write books and look at the stars, maybe do what they're doing.
Exactly.
Don't migrate. And she says, there's wolves out there, there's people. It's dangerous to travel.
Dangerous traveling, and you are particularly vulnerable because you're so little.
So take the stuff from the farm. Don't migrate. Stop moving.
Get security. This race of hobbits, and they are hobbits. They're not like they're half-foot is just a type of hobbit. All right, is like. Nonsense. They wouldn't survive.
They don't. They keep dying.
I know. They leave people for dead. They walk around in the dangerous wilderness and everything. They don't support it. Like the way that they behave, and also they're foraging off the land with a large population. They would barely be able to support themselves like this, right? With such a large group. This civilization would be wiped out. It's nonsense. And then when they say they specifically move from these locations, I'm just wondering, why, some of these locations seem good. Just settle down. You don't need to move around. And then she starts talking about how dangerous everything is. Wolves, friggin' trolls and crap. And then, on top of that, because they're going from set location to set location, you tell me, how are you able to remain hidden for so long then? You're moving around out in the open and just travelers passes by. Like, it's all nonsense. If you wanted to try and justify the civilization, they would be like in a kind of hard to get to location, hidden away in amongst some hills, trees, or whatever, and they would be farming and stuff to try and support themselves. They'll hide that way, or underground, almost like in holes. Hobbit holes? Sure. Such an odd notion. Who would think of that?
Yeah. No.
So, through there's that, right? And then when she gets up, one of those she was like, "Oh, we gotta go! Quick, sticks!" She gets like, "What's inherently quick about sticks?"
It's just it rhymes. Quick sticks.
I've already brought up this example in previous one, but if you're gonna make up analogies or whatever, right? Just something that is thematically, understandable. And Brendan Sanderson does a fine job in Stormlight Archives where someone has different analogies someone didn't hear of before, but he says it and instantly know what it is by context, where he says, "Oh man, you've got so much red on your ears and stuff like that."
That makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. But this is like quick sticks. Like, there's nothing inherently quick about sticks. If you want something quick, I don't know, just link it to rabbits or something like Hop 2. Oh wow, who uses that?
Also, just the way the wizard here is just like, "Oh, I'm dangerous, Nori. I killed the flies." And she goes, "No, you're good. It's fine. You don't know that." She doesn't know that. There's no proof to that.
He could be crazy.
He's literally saying, "I'm dangerous." And she goes, "No, I'm not."
Yeah, she's an idiot because then they even double down and try and do that in the episode where he injures her through some magic he's not controlling. And it's like, Nori, you found him in like a crater of fire. Did you not get the memo that this guy could be freaking dangerous? He almost kills you when you first arrive with the whole tree thing and stuff. Oh, come on. So then we go to them pulling the carts, and of course, the wizard guy is pushing the cart, and I'm just wondering, could they not have thought of any other creative reason to justify his acceptance into their family, apart from making the hobbits just psychopaths that leave people for dead and no one will help him out? Like, you couldn't think of any other reason apart from he will help them with their carts. Why will they help with the carts? Someone will get injured, but why won't anyone else help with the carts? They'll just leave them for dead. And who honestly thought that was logical or made them look good in any way? And so then Poppy starts singing a song that a dead mum sang.
But just the effort again too. They put in the carts. They put sticks and hay everywhere, and then they change wherever they go. That they're so industrious, and yet they don't think.
Yeah, and they are traveling over a long distance. We see the map here. It's like, whoa! And then on top of that, right, it actually shows us that they're going through. So it continues. I don't want to get pinged for copyright, so I need to constantly pause and go forward. The Grey Marshes. It's like, they're kind of going out of their way to hit the Grey Marshes, or they're going around them. But when they're in the bog, you see the embankment on the side, and it's like, guys, why didn't you just go around? Why didn't you just stay on the solid ground? It's not like a river that you have to pass. It looks like you just go see here, just go along here, along around and around. It's like they went out of their way to get stuck in a bog. Sure, okay. And then, of course, they pass over lots of other stuff and more things on the map. So this looks like it's months. We don't have really too much of a time comparison to other areas. And this is one of the only times when maybe you could say months. No, actually, no, we are given a time. It's a week. Because in Numenor, it says it's been a troublesome week. So
right, it's been a week.
It's just been a week. And they are traveling over vast plains and stuff. This. So,
I forgot about this one.
I have to be careful. I might almost have to just try and find it.
I'll put it down if you want.
No.
Extra safe.
Oh, yeah. Put it down and I'll get to the right scene.
Okay, it's down.
So we can play it forward. Okay, so this is funny, okay? Just in case the audience wouldn't be able to figure out by looking at a crater from the sky that it's the crater that the guy fell in, they have to show us it's on fire because they think we're idiots. It's like, ready? It's like, do you remember the fire crater, guys? And then it fades. They could have just shown us this. It's like, we would get it. You don't need to spell it out. And then it goes to the weird,
the creepy white people, I call them.
Yeah, you just call creepy white people. The dark, evil M&M person.
Man, their brows, it was like anime brows. That's how sharp it was when that person turns around and looks. Oh.
Yeah, but we've all seen this person from the images and stuff. So they appear and they're hunting the wizard guy.
That's all we see.
Yep. Cuts to the evil leader, Sauron red herring person, and they say the tunnel is complete. And I was like, they weren't like, yeah, they did dig tunnels, but the big one wasn't a tunnel; it was a trench.
Yeah. And
so, what tunnel is this? What will it be used for? I don't think it's going to come up again.
I reckon they're going to. Mm-hmm. The trench is going to be the tunnel.
But it's not a tunnel.
I know, but it doesn't matter. It is their tunnel.
Oh my goodness! And then it confirms these orcs are full-on vampires.
Yeah.
Like, give me your hand, and it starts just frying in the sun.
Bubbling.
Bubbling. It even starts bubbling. This guy's in the sun for 5 minutes, he'll melt, by the implication shown here. Which is like, what? Do they even know Lord of the Rings? I'm thinking back, there was a big orc and goblin army attacking Minas Tirith in the daytime. And they weren't melted. So I know it's not canon with the Peter Jackson trilogy, but it's supposed to have some connection with Lord of the Rings lore, but they don't give a crap. They're bastardizing everything. And they're not even consistent with their own show. Because we see the orcs go out in sunlight, and sometimes they have clothes hits them and it doesn't fry, and then it does.
Like this guy's fingers is in the sunlight and nothing happens to his fingers.
You're right. It's So it's inconsistent crap. Oh my goodness. And then, okay, so that was that scene. And then it cuts to one of the cringiest, follow me speeches I've ever seen. And maybe that's what they're going for, because few people listen to her. But she does get a bit of a cheer, doesn't she?
Yeah, everyone's like, yeah, okay, sure, we'll do it.
So she goes, I know I'm not the king you wanted, but if you choose and stand to fight with me. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is very weak sauce here. And also, I'm wondering, why would anyone be rallied by this? Is she a great warrior? Is she a leader in the community?
No, she's a herbalist.
She's a herbalist.
Great tea.
Who was mostly distrusted and disliked by context.
True, because she had a thing for the elf. And
Exactly.
No one likes the elf.
And so she comes up and is like, follow me. I'm like, I wouldn't do this. I'm sorry, lady. You're not only is your speech pretty weak, you don't have many credentials to inspire confidence, let's just say.
And there's not much of a plan either. She says, follow me and we'll fight.
And just stay in this tower and fight against
they don't
insurmountable, overwhelming force with heaps of numbers.
I'm assuming they ate all the food.
Yeah, they probably got no food. And you're right, where's the prep?
There's no weapons, no armor.
It's just it's a lose-lose situation, and they don't have a plan. Her literally just fight.
And everyone's like, yeah!
And
then half of them leave afterwards.
And joining the bad side if you know they're evil, yeah, I get that. That's bad. But if you didn't know, if this other side was particularly bad and this was just a conquering warlord, it's for peasants, what's one warlord over another? It's we're just paying taxes to a different person and say, if, hey, I don't want to die, why resist? Let's just join. And I am kind of rooting for Sauron in this show, so I might just join him anyway.
Someone in chat says they didn't even think to bring food, so who of them have weapons?
Exactly.
They got one wheelbarrow.
Yeah, we'll stay and fight.
Also, there's a part where the creepy guy is talking to the elf, and he says, elf, I'll say this for our ancestors. They lived. And I don't know in context of this conversation, is he talking about the ancestors live? The orcs live?
Yeah. It's this guy.
Yeah, this guy here just says this, I don't know.
But he's saying our ancestors who joined with Morgoth, what he can say about is that they're still alive. And he's saying, if we fight here, we'll all die. I mean, you can't really argue with his math.
Okay. Now I understand what he was saying. Although afterwards we see that not all of them lived. Not all of them will live.
Well, I mean, yeah, because they're evil, baddie people and stuff. But for those who don't really know who the enemy is, and it's swear fealty to this new guy or face certain death, Yeah, we don't even know who their leaders were in the first place, because supposedly their leader, their king, is totally not Sauron, and he's left, and so they're leaderless. But then I don't know. So it's all a bit, yeah. And then does the elf try and say something? Why not swear? Oh no, that was me. I was like, oh, why not swear? At least if you don't know, do it. And then that's really it. And then they all leave. But the boy doesn't. He's like, I'm staying.
Staying with mum.
Good on him. Stay with your mum. So, Nathan, how many boats can you count? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I reckon 7, 8.
So there is 8 boats in this scene. How many boats do they say they have later on?
Is it 10?
5.
5? 10?
They say they only have 5. They lose 2, and they only have 3 then to go on the expedition. And I'm like, don't they have a huge navy? It's like, oh, you lost a couple of ships, just grab a couple more. Massive navy. This scene proves they've got at least, and these are just the ones docked. I'm sure they'll probably have, 20, 50 out in the open sea still.
With a city this big, you would think they have a bigger defense budget.
Not just city, nation.
Nation, okay.
They're an island nation with multiple cities. And suddenly, later on, they only have 5 ships, 2 get lost because suddenly wine in caskets is C4 all of a sudden. Holy friggin' crap! I'm not kidding.
You hate to be an alcoholic and a smoker.
I like, wow. Just wow. Look, we'll get there in the episode, but I was just like, what? And anyway, they lose 2 ships and suddenly they only have 3 when They even show in the episode they have at least 8 in dock. And if you were just to use logic about the size of the nation, that the seafaring nation, they would have heaps of ships, and they're like, oh no, we can't get any more. They can't pay attention to their own continuity. No. We've already seen in the previous episodes, the only thing consistent about this show is how bloody inconsistent it is. My goodness. Oh, and you think, will it get better? I know, they've proven like this whole season is going to be this bad. If there is no improvement by now, this is the quality we're dealing with, okay? Oh, someone says, man, keep a track of my blood pressure. Okay. Yeah, so they're on the dock, and the Isildur wants to now go off to the thing.
To the war. Wants to be on the Coast Guard. The thing he just left to go westward. Man, no, the way his dad responds to this is so much more, I think, controlled than I would if my son did this.
Yeah.
I'd be so upset. What do you mean? You just got kicked out with your 2 friends, and then you come to me and say, hey, Dad, can I get put on back again?
Like, what do you want, boy?
You were going west.
Wake up.
Go west. He's like, nah, I want to put myself to the north.
That is his reason.
Yeah.
And what's weird about that, it isn't that he wants to go help the people in Middle Earth, because, like, if you could say his decision has changed because there's a different decision now. Instead of just serving Numenor, it's help people in the Southlands under attack, and I want to help, and I'll maybe see some action. Different decision might justify it. But his answer isn't a different decision. It's just, I want to prove myself to Numenor. You could have done that before, you moron!
And there's no, what's the word I'm looking for? No motive to change his decision. Like, going west isn't any harder, and being a Coast Guard person isn't any easier. Like, nothing has changed. They just announced the war, and he thought, you know what, that'd be pretty cool. I just do that.
Yeah, so... Again, so consistent, the consistencies of this show. Do they have anyone just paying attention to stuff and just like, motivations? Also, his motivations are a bit different. And this episode is kind of contextualized by not understanding the motivations of characters and contradicting them. Like the big scene with Galadriel and totally not Sauron. Perfect example of this. But also Elrond and Durin and everything, they don't even understand the motivations they set up with these characters in previous episodes, and they just reach and as a result to try and have the characters justify what they want to do, they don't actually understand it, the writers, so they just start speaking gibberish and have meaningful music, and it's given in a really serious way to try and fool the audience to think, yeah, this makes sense, when it doesn't. That's one of the hallmarks of this entire show. Faking, pretending to be something better than what it actually is because they lack the talent to properly achieve it.
Yeah.
That's this show in a nutshell. And so, yeah, there's that conversation. And now suddenly, there's heaps of Numenorians objecting to this war. And I'm like, what the hell were they last episode? Everyone was on board. And now... it's like everyone in the council is like, not a chance. What the hell are you doing? Why are we going to war?
And it's just funny because when he is sort of talking to his dad's like, oh, half the city wants to go to war and the other half completely against, like, and he was like, we've got plenty of people, we're all good. And then we come here and then everyone's like, oh, how dare you go to war with this elf? Like, and the ones who were most against it were like shut down at the end of the previous episode.
Yeah. It's just...
And why doesn't he do the same thing as last time? He goes, everyone, trust me, we're Numenorians, we've got this.
I know.
Have a drink. Problem solved.
Yeah, just like alcohol could just magically appear. I'm sure there's people standing with trays off to the side just in case.
But he doesn't do it this time.
Use it, mate. You've used it before. Numenorians get quelled so quickly just by offering him free alcohol.
Yeah.
So, again, the show is inconsistent with what it's trying to tell the audience in terms of how the nation feels about it. And then she's like, you've got to speak to your dad. And it's like she's against it now, and you don't exactly know why. She's just speaking to your dad, tell him to listen. And their attempt at trying to be Tolkienian with their language and everything, where they end up just making their language so convoluted where it's just nonsense. You could have said something really easy to convey what, and he says this, is like, when I speak, his ears close up. Or you can just say, he doesn't listen to me. but they know, they have to sound Tolkienian, and so they just over-fluff the language to the point of absurdity.
Well, yeah, even the start of this conversation was, forgive me for not sending word to you sooner. Been trying all week. He's like, sorry I didn't send you anything. I've been trying to send you something.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense because he was sending something anyway, so how could he be sorry for not sending something if you sent something anyways? Yeah. And then, just the way, like he said before, you know, my father, his ears close up, whatever. Her response to that is not, don't say something different, don't get some...
Don't reason with him.
Speak louder. And he doesn't. He doesn't speak louder. He doesn't take a lot of advice, but and the music swells. She looks at him and just speak louder.
Oh, so the writings are so poetic. Oh my goodness. Then switches to like totally not Sauron, and it is forging a sword. And look, they kind of addressed that he's out of prison or something here still, but like...
My first impression was, who gave him a license?
Well,
we find out.
But
without context, I was like, hang on a minute, that's illegal. And Numenor?
He wasn't allowed to do it.
Yeah.
But he does have the seal on
yeah,
him.
he got the seal.
I just find it funny that he's forging, and it goes straight to him like tempering. He puts it in water, and the very next scene, it's all complete.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. Okay, that was
somehow
quick. That was quick. And this sword that is made is the blade of a lot of other swords in the episode. All the regular soldiers have this sword. And it's a very elaborate sword with like a gold inlay. It's like, okay, Numenor at its height, maybe, but still, you'd almost think if this is the standard issue soldier's sword, it wouldn't be so kind of distinct. It would just be more run-of-the-mill. But no, for some reason, all the soldiers in this army have to have, we'll see it later, but it has like a horse head handle, a horse head pummel with a handle, same blade, same gold inlay, and this is one of the makings of them. And I was just thinking, like, you're going to war if you're preparing weapons. I thought he was making a weapon for himself. It's like,
yeah,
maybe something a bit more functional, a bit quicker. Small nitpick, but still is like, you know, yeah, didn't like it. So... They call him in, and they're like, "All right, where are the traveling movements of the army?" He's like, "I think they went south." You think, or do you have any confirmation on this? Like, you get to plan your entire military strategy on an assumption by this guy?
I think it went south in the Southlands or in south.
Yeah, just south. Just go
south of the Southlands.
South. Yeah, further south, I should think, towards the Watchtower of Osterith. It's like, you haven't been there for what seems to be months, if not much longer. Like, if they were on their way to that tower back then, they've passed that tower, and that tower is leveled. But they're going to just assume that, oh, this is good intel. And even then, when they get there, they would send scouts and everything. Like, all they can go off at the moment is that the enemy is in the Southland something. But they're not thinking, they don't really care about logic in this show. And then there's also, like, they just assume that he's king with no confirmation. It's just Galadriel said he's a king. Like, holy crap, all I need to do is have a pendant of some royalty around my neck and... I'll go to Numenor, I'll be called Lord, given the head of, like, influence of an army movement, all this crap. Like, wow.
Yeah. And Galadriel in this one is unbearable. The Queen's like, oh, so you're going to come with us? And it's like, oh, all right. And then Galadriel comes in, woman's planning. Oh, yeah, he will, actually. It'd be great. Fantastic. Wonderful.
He will do everything I say, basically. And he's like, hang on, I don't want to... But she's like...
so reluctant. You can tell he's very uncomfortable with it. And the Queen's kind of a bit sussy about it.
Yeah. And Galadriel was like lying through her teeth to the Queen that, he's just totally on board when he's absolutely not. And she says... he will do his part. Yeah. Just telling people what it's like, perfectly in line with... In actual fact, there might be one other consistent thing in this show, is how much of a cow Galadriel is. Like, that is the other... she is so consistently awful. And there are multiple parts where I wrote this. Like, literally, in my response to her saying, she will do his part, I just wrote, she's still such a cow. Oh, I can't stand it. And then the Queen's like, I've staked my name upon this. Is like, wow. You're staking your authority as Queen Regent on the word of an untrusted elf that this guy happens to be a king of the Southlands and stuff.
And they both went to prison.
I mean, what you would do getting a report that, like, hey, there's orcs in South, you'd send scouts, like a party, like, you know. But she's like, I will go myself. And also, her going herself is like, you know, is she experienced in war? I don't get that impression. Probably not the best plan, especially if you haven't confirmed the threat. Like, lots of reasons. It just makes me like, yeah. But anyway, she's...
Also, I noticed something. So when the queen leaves, Galadriel bows.
Oh, does she?
She has a little, like, bow head nod. But in Numenor, no one bows! But Galadriel bowed!
They can't even, again, they can't keep consistent with what they set up in the previous episode.
Queen should be like, Galadriel, no one bows in Numenor.
Yeah, and so at this point, I'd really like them to kind of contextualize why Numenor is helping basically the Southlands, wanting to go to war, okay? They're committing an army, but then when I find out how much of an army, I was like, well, hang on, what, really? We'll get there. But it's like, if someone even just said, I'll be fine with this, we can't risk an orc uprising. We fought Morgoth and look what happened, we can't, but no one even says that. And even then, right? They've shown Numenor to be pretty selfish at the moment, okay?
Yeah.
This is an insular nation that hasn't really given a crap about the wars in other nations, from context of the show, what seems to be. I know in the lore, Numenor is actually expanding its powers and colonizing parts of Middle-earth and everything. From what the show has shown, Numenor has no contact with Middle-earth. They've locked themselves off. And so, why would they give a crap? Especially with how corrupt Numenor seems to be at this time. And so... they don't explain it. They're going to go, we will give the army. Okay. All right. And then this is also where Galadriel says, I wondered how the queen found that, you know, waylaid me at her bedside.
The father's bedside, yeah.
And I was like, Galadriel, I was wondering how you friggin' climbed that tower and broke through that metal grated glass window.
Scaled that building like an instant. Because
those are questions too I have. But we also find out in this scene that, like, the size of the army, it's 500 men.
Mm. 5 ships.
An orc army.
And 100 on each of those small ships plus their horses.
But that's not an army. Do you know, like, the size of... You at least need a couple of thousand to be a decisive... Especially with the size... If I'm just going average size of medieval armies and things... You need a groups of thousands to be something significant at least. And so medieval warfare, 20,000 is like a decent sized army. They actually didn't get as big as like classical armies. You get in the hundreds of thousands. All right.
Yeah.
But that's where it can get to. It can get to hundreds of thousands. And you look at the size of the army in the Peter Jackson trilogy, you think 500 men against a possible orc uprising. What do you expect to do? Gosh.
But even the way that information's conveyed, it's Galadriel saying how good she is. She says, I have just convinced Numenor to send 5 ships and 500 men to aid your people and place a crown on your head. Many might assume you used me. The sentence before, he's just like, I begged you to let me be. Just let me be Galadriel. She's like, no, you've used me.
I will force you to do what I say. I will take away your freedom, but because some people might seem it as comfortable, you should thank me for it. That's essentially what she's saying, because I'm putting a crown on your head. Stuff your freedom, stuff your choices, but because it's a crown, you should be thanking me. Like, she's basically, she's enslaving a guy almost. And then she's like, you should thank me for it. And I just had written here, Galadriel is awful. She is so awful. Oh my goodness. And they are setting up something kind of horrifying here. Because this guy, it is so obvious is Sauron. Like, especially this episode just confirms it again, right? And then they go so far to try and contextualize some of his motivations that he doesn't want to go back. He says he doesn't want to go back ever again, and he's sorry for everything that is done, and he just wants to be left in peace, okay? And so this is like Sauron kind of saying, I was bad, I just happy life, let me be as a smith. And Galadriel is the one who's going to force him back into being Sauron, essentially.
Yep.
Like, this path will literally be the path that gets him to decide to be evil, bad guy Sauron again. Galadriel is responsible for Sauron. That's what they set up in this episode. Not kidding. I'll give you the specific examples. I was just like, ah.
I mean, either way, I think he's going to be bad and evil, but Galadriel's pushing him so much.
I don't know. He seems like he just wanted to be a smith in Numenor because it's a nice place.
I think what he would have done was been chill in Numenor, but then started to corrupt the people.
Well, see,
that's what he would have done.
In the lore,
yeah,
that's actually what happens. But by the way, sharing what happens in the lore does not give you spoilers for the show because they're bastardizing the lore everywhere, right? There are some, they pull out some things from just make up bullcrap. It is such a contradictory lore. I'm working with a lore expert to go through all the inaccuracies and is making scripts for me. This episode was so bad, he just had to email us to say, I have to let you know about this pearl, and I'll get to it. It's just made up bullcrap. Not even in the lore at all. And so, like I said, I'm going to mention something from the lore. This isn't a spoiler. The Númenóreans do go and fight Sauron in the lore. They defeat him, but they take him back as a prisoner. And then Sauron, tries to say, oh, you got me, I'll be a good guy. And then he lives in Númenor and corrupts them there, and that leads to the fall of Númenor and stuff. But they're not setting that up here. He seems like he's not intent in getting the ear of politicians. He just wants to make stuff. He likes making things.
Swords.
Yeah.
Maybe some rings.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, rings, jewelry. He kind of likes jewelry. And so I think this season and this episode indicates, like I said, is setting up that it's Galadriel that pushes Sauron down the path of becoming a big bad guy. Yeah. And like, if you think they were bastardizing Tolkien before, look at that. Look what they ruined Galadriel that much, and now they're making her the one.
Is she going to be the new Sauron?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So, cuts to the totally not hobbits, and they're walking through like a forest, and I'll try and show that because the forest is it doesn't look very real. It's very open, lots of paths to walk through. And so, yeah, we'll lower it.
Put it down for safety.
Put it down for safety. So we get we can bring it up. So we see the forest up from above. We'll bring it down, and then I'll get to the thing. It just, I don't know, looked a bit artificial. Let's see if we end the scene. And they're walking through this forest, and there's like, oh, it's not very many things to farm here. Oh, no, they're like, why are we going through here? Because a river was like broken or something, and they don't usually walk down this path. So this is the forest here. We'll bring it up. And I was like, wow, there is barely any undergrowth in this forest. This is a really easy traversable forest.
Yeah.
In most forests, there's like underbrush, shrubbery everywhere. Yeah. Really hard to traverse. Leaves,
grass, everything.
Small thing, but still. I was like, there we go. So they noticed wolves. And I was just like, the moment's passed, guys. Remember that wolf we saw? Was it episode 1?
Yeah.
Look, you could not tell me this is that wolf. Bullcrap. In actual fact, so much time has passed. This is just them running across wolves in a scary forest that they didn't want. So what that means is the wolf that they made a big deal about, hanging a lantern, Chekhov's gun on the mantelpiece, they do nothing with. And I think I even said that I expected they're that incompetent
they'll forget.
that they'll just forget about and do nothing. They have. And I'm not, no. Bullcrap, this is the same wolf. No.
They're different. They look different.
Completely, and way too much time has passed. And so they just threw it in there for conflict that went nowhere. Unfulfilled promise. Doesn't surprise me about this show. They don't pay off things that they set up. Then they mentioned that these two is like they don't like the guy, and she basically says they should have taken their wheels and leave them.
Yeah.
Which also means this is something that they actually do. They didn't do it in this instance, but they have done it before. And so not only do they just let people fall behind who falls behind, they will basically, sabotage them. Force them to not be able to move, migrate, get to food or anything like that. Steal the wheels off the carts of those that they displease. These hobbits suck. They are so awful. I hate them.
What's dark about this as well, though, was that she said, that they should have taken their wheels and left them. The line afterwards is even worse when she says, what's going to take a widow of somebody or an orphan before you act on this? Because she was scared that all these bad omens were from the wizard person, and they should have, what's the word? Like done...
Acted on it? Or...
like punished Nori and whoever to get bad omens away. And she's like, if we don't do this, we're going to have orphans, we're going to have widows, bad things going to happen by making people die. Sacrificing people.
Kill people to prevent bad things.
And this happens. This episode, I realized the theme of this series is you got to do really bad things for the greater good.
You're right.
It's a very,
holy crap, you're right.
That is the overarching story of...
Yes.
Of
Galadriel even says it too. Totally not Sauron. Sometimes you have to touch the darkness.
Yep.
You have to do bad things. That's vile and evil.
Yeah.
That is evil philosophies that the ends justify the means. That is a vile, evil philosophy. And it's in line with certain, philosophies that want to, everything to be, they'll force everything to be the same. Yeah. And they will redistribute things and perform vile evils because the ends justify the means. Just makes me wonder about the philosophies of the creators. It wouldn't surprise me that they fall into this philosophy. And you're right, that's the philosophy of the show. Ends justify the means. You have to do some evil to do some good.
Yep.
Wow.
And I mean, they basically left her family to die anyways. The dad had the bad leg. They were left. They're dead as far as they are aware, even though they do catch up in the next scene. They're dead. They're gone.
Yep.
What are you complaining about?
My goodness. That's a good pickup, and you are absolutely right. Oh. So I have written here, at this point, I'm just hoping the hobbits get eaten.
Me too. I'm like, all right.
I hate them. They deserve to be wiped out. Then, of course, so she's getting things. Wolves attack. They run, and the discount Gandalf comes and saves him. It was obvious, and he just does this wizardy thingy, hits the ground. Oh, this is after he slapped the ground, so... Ready, and he comes in, he picks it up, throws it, falls down, wolfy thing is looking at him, and he does a wizardy thing. But, yeah, it's as soon as you even saw wolves come, it was you just well, the wizard will protect him. It's so bleedingly obvious. I would have liked, subvert my expectations because if you're as a writer, you're writing towards a certain scene and it's so obvious that everyone's going to predict it, you have the option then to surprise the audience because you know what they're expecting. But the writers, they can't even do that. They could have done something creative. But no, so there we go. That's that scene. Wolves get beaten.
All right, chat, we're here. I don't think I can.
I hate it so much, Nathan! This is so painful.
One does not simply analyze this scene and keep their cool because I laughed so hard. The utter nonsense. And this is someone who doesn't know much about swords. I was just like, what?
Oh my
Galadriel! What do you want about?
All right. I starting this in, I had no idea it was going to get this bad. I just saw these guys flailing around. I'll go back and try and... So if we bring it down, we'll get it to the start of the fight scene. We're going to be going pretty slow. We might even need to make it full screen at times. So, oh boy. Well, what's the chat saying?
It's going mad. I can't even read it.
I missed it.
Telling you to breathe.
Prepare thyself. Okay, so if we could bring it full screen. So just to even hear the telegraphing and wide swings. Pity we can't go frame by frame. Because I need to So look at him overswing there, and then what are they aiming for?
Their swords. They're aiming for their swords.
And so already I was just and look, static bind, nothing creative. And look, dude, you're holding the guy. So if we bring it down, you're holding the guy's sword with one hand and you have a sword here. Just take your sword. It's over. You've just beaten him. But no, they're going to do the whole oh, he got you. And that's just a taste. That's the beginning.
That was 5 seconds.
Oh, I might need some water. Oh, yeah. You might need to get me a new one. Sorry. Yeah, so I was like, holy crap, that sword exchange was bad. And that was before I saw anything else. Okay. And there's like, I was thinking, why are they practicing on what looks to be like a walkway thoroughfare? Like, do they not have a barracks?
No.
Do they just train their soldiers in the middle of the street? So
Well, there's only 500 of them.
Yeah. So the setup is stupid. And everything's stupid in this. But this, well, of course, particularly enraged me. So, yeah, they're there, and Galadriel comes.
Oh, we got the line as well, which I think is dumb.
Yeah, I know. Explain
Their
why it's
strokes
dumb,
fall like the stone giants of the North Moors. Now, this is something I think everyone else needs to help me with. Strokes. Would you say strikes? Would that make more sense?
Strikes would make more sense.
Strokes just sounds like a medical condition.
Yeah. I have noticed that. You need to move that way. We're not centered. Holy
way,
crap.
or this way?
My OCD. That way. My OCD just went like, all right. Because we pay attention to quality on this.
Other people's quality, not ours.
That's better. Yeah. And then, not only that, this line, I didn't know if she's complimenting or criticizing.
That's a good point.
Because
I just thought she was being
having a stroke, but you don't want a stroke. Strokes are bad, but if you strike like a stone giant, that sounds like a really powerful strike, or it could mean a really wide fail. Like, there's no context for you to know what she actually meant by this.
I just thought it was condescending because it's Galadriel, and that's what she's always like.
Yeah, gosh. And it's the poor. You're right. Poor use of words when they're stroking their swords. So just phrasing, right? So there's that. And look, see that wide thing? Oh, gosh. Yeah, it moves too fast now. I have to do a fight scene autopsy. This is so bad. And to break it down frame by frame, because there are moments when you pause at the right, it's like, what are they doing? Okay. And so, and yet, like, could they be better? Don't really know. Perhaps the elf would be willing to offer some instruction. So, right, like, the things she says here is so stupid. Oh, so this is, yeah.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you all the funniest sword instruction I've ever witnessed. This is the part where once she does what she just is about to do, I went, I went in the studio while watching this. I just, really? That's it, Galadriel? Talks about how crappy they're all doing their sword swings, and then her technique. She solved it, everyone.
Yeah, you're really in a good place to teach, Galadriel. All right, so willing to offer them instruction. And she's like, oh, yeah, I'll show them what for. Get ready for these pearls.
She says, there are many ways to kill an orc, but for you, I'll keep it strong and simple.
Sorry, hang on. Just that line alone. Let's get to it when she's like, there are many ways to kill an orc. I'm like...
Yeah, I'll bring it down.
Yeah, I will get it to the right side. Here it is. So she comes in, maybe a full screen as they say, like, there are many ways to kill an orc. I'm like, really? Are you sure about that, Galadriel? I couldn't figure that out. Maybe you said, what if you said the most efficient way to kill? No, she says there are many ways. Like, which moron wouldn't be able to figure that out? I had no idea if I chopped off their head, they wouldn't get killed. So we'll bring it back down. And then she's like, but for you, I'll keep it short, simple, or like...
short...
Yeah, where it is like, you don't say, but for you, I'll keep it strong and simple. In other words, you guys are bleeding morons, so I'm going to speak like you're idiots, because I think you're idiots. And she's like, yeah, so she'll keep it strong and simple. I always feel bad criticizing this because it's like criticizing a child. They don't know. And look, the actress is only doing what she's told, I'm assuming, okay? So the fact that she doesn't know how to handle a sword, you'd think, get some sword training, that would have helped a bit. And ready?
We're gonna full screen this one.
Yeah, full screen. This is her keeping it short and strong. Ready? Stab, twist, gut. It's like, oh, really glad you. I didn't know that could kill an orc. You're amazing.
She just acts like a know-it-all kid, and she also has a live sword and just goes stab between two people.
Yeah.
Twist. That's my other question: is why aren't they training with training swords?
Yeah, you'd want to. You'd think like it might be, but you know, live swords.
Sorry, that's not the worst part in this.
No. Stab, twist, gut. In other words, it hit them with the sword.
Otherwise, stab them.
Stab them?
Yeah.
It's like... I'll be like, would that be more effective than chopping her head off, Galadriel? It should be like, well, probably not. Then why didn't you tell us to chop their heads off? It's like...
Because it was strong and simple.
Stab him in where? Do you stab him in the leg, arm, heart? You know, just stab. Just stab, twist,
gut.
But gut sounds like in the gut.
Yeah.
Okay, so not in the heart, which would kill him instantly. You wouldn't even need a twist. In actual fact, people can survive shockingly long getting like with a gut wound. Okay, it's a slow, painful death, but it's not an instant kill. And so if you wanted to instantly kill an orc, you wouldn't want to stab him in the gut. So even that's wrong. Oh, so bad. So, and they're acting like, oh, wow. She's more acting like, holy crap, she almost hit me. Did she almost hit you?
Like, just like,
who is this crazy?
This elf's crazy.
This crazy elf.
Maybe I should quit the army and go west.
Come at me. This is like, why literally come at me, bro?
It's just funny they have this fancy way of speaking.
Yeah.
And then she's like, come at me.
Come at me.
Come at me, kid.
Oh, we will see who can score flesh. And it's funny. They literally switched to like street language to we will see who can score flesh. Meaning
Come at me.
Like, or we'll see who can land a hit, like who can strike me or anything. But no, they have to score flesh because we're so Tolkienian. And he goes, anyone that does, I will promote. And they're like, ooh, we'll do it. So, then we get into like Matrix bullcrap here. And it's really, he telegraphs his strikes. Like, look at what let's bring this full screen, all right? So far, what he has there is the closest thing to a stance in the entire scene of the sword fight. No one else, and then they just start flaying all around like stances don't exist.
I even thought this one was a bit weak, though.
This is weak, and it doesn't even look like Galadriel properly dodges. Okay, but he telegraphs it by a mile. So he's there, he's ready. He's like, oh, what will I do? What will I do? We don't want to get pinged for copyright, so we're going very short. Look at this. So do you see him like pull back? All of that was telegraph, right? And then, you missed it. I want to pause at like the right moment because it looks like Galadriel doesn't even, so I need to go really quick. Okay. Can we get it? It's like, were you even aiming for her? What are you aiming for there? And it's pretty darn close. And she's... and I just noticed something. Sorry. Okay. If you have a sword coming to you like this, right? You would dodge it by moving your whole body to the side and over. She doesn't do that. She literally just turns in the same spot. And so if the sword was aimed for her, not purposely missing, even when she does that, it would still hit. Oh, it's just so crap. Blink and you miss it, but and so she's like, I'm so great. Another massive telegraph strike. It looked like he was purposely missing there as well. And forget this guy doesn't know how to sword fight. if you do that and she dodges down, instead of withdrawing the sword, just strike downwards. You're already in position. Just freaking... I can't... And these are supposed to be Numenorians, right? Yeah. Numenorians are supposed to be in like the best like warriors in the world. The lore, best at warfare in the world. These guys are bumbling, useless, like...
Yeah, if I was the higher up and I saw all this, I'd be very concerned for our army. I'd be like, maybe we shouldn't go to war. These guys are not at all prepared. It's embarrassing. Who? Because the challenge is whoever sparks flesh or whatever becomes a lieutenant.
I know. Holy crap! Like, just he gets lucky and suddenly he's promoted for no other reason. It could be the most like inept tactical leader.
Because Flash was fighting what? 4 or 5 people? At least one person would be able to land a hit, and then all of a sudden they're lieutenant because they hit it from behind or something.
I literally imagine it feels like this. I hit him, and I get to be the lieutenant now. You said you got to promote me. And the leader guy's like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
I don't do that. So... There's that. Oh, I had another thing to comment on. Oh, that's right. This scene almost encapsulates the issue with Galadriel. And it's one of the Mary Sue issues. And so Mary Sue is a scale, and there are more people on this Mary Sue scale than not. But one of the most like distinct Mary Sue qualities of Galadriel is that they don't have the competence to write her as competent, as smart, intelligent, capable in warfare. So the only way to do it is to make everyone else dumb and everyone else incompetent. They didn't do the preparation, choreography to actually make her really, really good. So to make her look like she's so good against these guys, they make them floundering, flailing like idiots. And it continues, okay? So, like, so frustrating because there's no follow-up, right? And look at that overswing, he's friggin' spinning around. Like, holy crap. Usually, if you strike, you keep it on point. If he just struck, keep on point, and she ducked under, down. I mean, this is such crap. Like amateurish crap from a swordsmanship perspective. It makes me friggin' angry, man. And then he full on runs with it like and she's standing there like I'm so great. It's like, no, he's just
You're
awful.
not Neo. Don't try to be Neo, okay?
Oh gosh. And it doesn't get better. Like, we can't spend hours on this, even though I think you guys might like it. Subscribe to Shadiversity. Stay tuned to a fight scene autopsy. I will devote an hour to it then. But there's a couple of moments where he was aiming at nothing there. He literally aimed nothing there as well. And then he overswung, exposing himself. My goodness. And so a couple of other moments. Should we go full screen just as we play through it? And I want to do a brief commentary. That's the blunt end of the sword.
The edge is only on one side for all these swords.
I know. And she's threatening him with the blunt end. So he knocks it aside. Misses, like wasn't aiming at anything. And overswing. Like, he's such an amateur. That swing where he stumbles forward off balance, of course you would take advantage. Like, you're not good, Galadriel. He's just a flailing buffoon. Oh, and this! Okay. Swordsmanship is about balance rather than strength. It's like... You could say swordsmanship is a bit about skill, but discounting strength is a stupid thing. No, actually, strength plays an important factor in swordsmanship. Like, strength determines speed. If you are stronger in your arms, you can accelerate this sword that has a bit of weight and mass to it faster than other people. And so you think people sometimes say speed is more advantageous than strength. No, you get the speed from being strong, okay? Strength is, and then you get leverage as well. Fighting against an opponent who is significantly stronger than you in swordsmanship is difficult. It's not insurmountable. That's the key. Skill can overcome many disadvantages, but to say that it's about balance rather than strength, like, come on, like, yeah. And then I had to tweet about this next line. I flipped out over this, right? Fight with your feet, not your arms. Are you bloody kidding me? And I'm not saying footwork isn't important, but in a sword fight, your arms usually do a lot of work, okay?
They do the fighting at least.
What's holding the sword, Galadriel, you numbskull? and then, right, what's hilarious, if I was to try and reinterpret this to give it like what she would probably say is, pay attention to your movements. Don't just move forward and back. Move laterally, because if you put yourself off point, you can get around people's guards and everything like that. And so that's where you use complex footwork, and footwork can be really important in a sword fight. But to say it's more feet than arms, is like, the arms are probably, you need your feet, don't get me wrong, but they're doing a bit more of the work. But anyway, so if she was trying to say that, like if you're trying to say improve your footwork, you would be saying, instead of moving forward and back, I have a note here. It's instead of fighting linearly, fight laterally a bit, and then she proceeds to fight linearly and not use her feet to move sideways. Nope. I can't it's such stupid commentary from a supposed sword master. And it's not hard to get anyone who knows half something about sword fighting to just give you some good lines about swordsmanship. Okay? Look, that's it. That's freaking it. Talk about something, Nathan. I'm gonna quote something from my book, because I have a sword fight in my book, and someone makes a commentary about the actual sword fight. Don't worry, it's in chapter 1. It won't take me long to get there.
Okay, good. I was going to say.
No, it won't take
I hope you know where it is.
Comment on something. I'll get
on something. Oh man, my notes and swords. I don't want to derail it too much.
There's been a few comments about how the half-foots would be very good at this because they have big feet. So, fighting with the feet would be an advantage.
This is true. They could just sucker punch them.
And her instruction, of course, is to fight with your feet, and she barely moves the entire time. So, of course, she does not use them.
So this is in chapter 2 from my book. There's been a duel, and it's between a really old, decrepit man who's 82 years old and a middle-aged guy who thinks this is all stuff. And the middle-aged guy just got defeated. And he lay there rubbing his chin, and when he opened his eyes, Dalen's sword was pointed to his throat. Swordplay isn't just about strength, speed, fitness, or precision, son. All those things help, true, but the most important thing is being able to read your opponent, to react with the right move. A precise strike that gets blocked is worse than a sloppy one that connects. If you know how to read your opponent, it doesn't matter if you're like me and can barely move, you'll still win. Understanding how swordplay works, integrated into a story and stuff. Just reach out to any HEMA, instructor, anything, to get a line about swordsmanship, and then they decide to just make up bull crap, and it's like, fight with your feet and not your arms. Gosh. I can't stand this crap. And all through that, right, he was never adopting his stance after the first one. He was just like, blah, 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 blah. It's so bad. And so we'll bring it full screen. So this guy decides to just run in, like, I'll get you, Galadriel! And then it's like, I guess the rules have changed. Multiple people, and this annoyed me, right? So she just moves linearly back, right? Like, if you're actually fighting multiple opponents, you want to move laterally to put one of the opponents behind the other and get them to block. But she just decides to, do it. And then it's such a lame setup where they look at the overswinging here and such crap. And so she's just like, dip, 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 dip. Ow. Man, I just noticed something again. We'll have to do it. But she ended up like that, and the guy had his sword blow her, and if he just thrust forward, she would have been dead then. So we can bring it down.
Yeah, it's down now.
Oh, yeah, if we bring it up. So this moment, right? Look at how much force she has in this elbow. Ready? She's there, and ready? And it's like, wow! It's just like...
It was a nudge. It was a nudge.
Gosh. Yeah. Isn't she supposed to fight with her feet, though? That's the back end of her sword again.
She doesn't want to hurt him.
She doesn't even know where the blade is on the sword. Oh, my goodness. Did they switch the... I don't know. No, it was still on the back end. Look at this guy. Bring this full screen.
Oh my gosh, that is a...
Look at him. Like with the telegram. I'll get you. And he was aiming right for the middle. He wasn't even aiming at her. Oh.
He could have ended her rightly.
Yeah.
He was given the chance.
And, all right, we'll bring it back down. But, look at him overswinging like, this is such crap. Oh, by the way, we see the swords. Everyone's using the same standard swords. If you have a look at the swords over here, they're all got all the same horse head swords with the same gold inlay. It's a very odd standard issue sword.
Mm.
You know, he hands Galadriel the sword. Like, Nathan, give me that hand. Ready?
Yep.
You have it here. She does this, and you have to. He just literally just lets go compliantly.
Let me hold him tightly.
Ready? This is exactly what happens. Just you need to let go. Just.
No.
That might be a problem.
It's my sword.
We literally just saw this, so this time just let go. So ready? It's. Oh, thank you for that. He opened his hand. And there are ways to wrest a sword out of someone's grip, but you need to twist their hand and get it from the pinkies where they don't have a grip on it, and then it can get out of
that
grip.
angle there. He's just.
It's not that angle at all.
Hands it to her.
Yeah. So that infuriated me, and then I wonder how did she do that when I gave her my sword? What was his plan? He was just running at her. Gosh. This is such crap. And now everyone... See this lady here, if we bring it full screen. So this ended on something. These two people were just standing here, doing nothing. I'll go back a tiny bit, but Galadriel would have been dead in this exchange. Again, that guy's aiming for nothing. All right, she has swords pointed on several people, and look at who's behind her. It's this is for a while, right? And look, see this, what were you doing? You could have been promoted. And then we even cut scenes and yeah, she's still standing here. Both of them. They're just... Oh, gosh. I can't... It's so bad. All right, and... this moment. She does this big, epic lean back thing, but she's not dodging anything. She just ends up leaning back because reasons.
Have a stretch.
Just have a stretch. Ready? Wait for it.
Yeah, I'll go full
screen this one. So the guy was aiming for nothing, comes here. So ready? She blocks it right there. It's already blocked. Sword is gone, right? You've done the job. And then she decides to do that. And it's way to leave yourself open. If anyone had half a brain, they had it so the sword that got knocked, we got thrown all the way back. But you can knock a sword and just go with it and then come down, and she's left herself wide open, by being stupid as lean back. This is such crap, man. So bad. Yeah. All right. And so this is towards the end of it now, and she goes, she does reverse grip. Of course she flipping does reverse grip. So she cuts that down, and then she's like, look how good I am. Even though she technically got cut there.
Yep.
And she let him do it. Especially with a guard like that. And what's frustrating about this, right? The guy, right? If he just does this, see how he comes in, if he just reverses like that, and then he can stab, just like that, just go, whoop, realign your sword, but he just keeps it on the air, and I can't get you. Don't know how to flipping sword fight this bullcrap. Gets me angry. Gets me angry, Nathan. And that's it. And she's like, he got a cut on her, and so he gets promoted.
Also, I don't know if this is just a weird thing that I don't know about, but they say, instead of lieutenant, they say lieutenant.
That's a very British way of saying it.
Okay. It's not just me, because I was wondering if it was the last Airbender situation, which...
I don't think so.
Now, I do remember her saying something about cutting flesh. I believe the only cut she has is to the fabric.
fabric.
I don't see any blood, wound, nothing.
You are absolutely right.
Promotion for not even fulfilling the task.
Yep.
Yeah, because look, she says, "Well done, Lieutenant." Do they show?
I think it was further back. Yeah, no, there was.
Well, let's
the fabric.
Let's see it. Let's see the fabric. So, she's so great taking on 5 incompetent buffoons. It's often easier to outmaneuver them. Again, where she's trying to comment on how to fight and everything like that. And the way that she says it, well, I'll get to the line because this took me a while to get through in terms of my notes. It was like I have just standing there, they're telegraphing, a crappy reverse grip. He just stands. Then she says, "Never trust brute force to best an orc." Like what? Really? I'm sure brute force could be very effective at times against an orc.
I think so too.
But then she says it's often easier to outmaneuver them. It's like, all right, what they're trying to say perhaps is like orcs are stronger than humans.
Overpower an orc.
So maybe she should say, don't press your strength against their strength or something like that. Only use it when you have the advantage or try and outmaneuver them. Simple restructuring. Now it makes sense. But because they don't know what they like, how to actually fight, the writers, they just say gibberish. There we go. And then, oh, wait. Let's see if we can see the cut on the thing. There it is. So if we go full screen it, it's a cut. You're right. It's just a cut on the thing. No flesh was actually cut. That's it.
And that kid became a lieutenant.
Yeah, from gradual letting you. She could have this could have been a set. I was like, I'll promote everyone. Well, I like him. I'll make sure he lives. So, totally not Sauron does this thing where he picks up the sword and, it's like, flicks it up. It's too hard to do. All right, and they would have taken just a number of takes just to make sure it lands there. But then he does one twirl and then switches to underhand. Really basic flourish. And then she's like, I never knew a smith to be able to do that, or something. It's like, it's not that hard.
You were swords all day. I think you do some fancy things with them.
We got through it. There's the fight scene. And then, this is the thing. After all of that, I'm wondering, what was the purpose of the fight scene? What did that establish in the plot? Nothing. All it did was like, isn't Galadriel a badass?
Yeah.
That's all. And it's like, we get enough of that, so much so, she comes off looking like this Mary Sue, so great, excellent. And I'm not saying she's a Mary Sue in every regard, but in certain regards, she very much is. And this is one of those scenes where it really came. She's so awesome. She's so unbeatable.
Also made the army look really incompetent.
Really incompetent.
I would be terrified to... Yeah. If I was like the standbys watching that, I'd be like, ooh, maybe we should hold off.
She comes off as arrogant and full of herself. And... like, she's unbeatable, right?
Yeah.
Basically, she is flawless in combat. It's, all right, how are we going to ever feel stakes in a fight? Like is she ever getting in any fight in this show where we think she might be able to lose? Not a chance. And when she does start to lose, it's going to be artificial crap now because we know how great she is. She can take on a ice troll single-handedly, 5 supposedly trained Numenorean guards. Oh, yeah, okay. Is she ever going to be, struggling at all in any combat situation? There's going to be no investment at all.
Chat would like to know if you'll do a review on the swords.
I did weapons and armor, and I've reviewed some of the swords, but this episode wasn't out, and so I didn't get to review this sword. And there's like only one other sword that I would have wanted to comment on, and it's on Al-Ferrison's sword when he's in the jail, I think. But I've done the other swords that I saw, and the armor. It's on Shadiversity, weapons and armor review on promotional images, and the episode's up to like episode 3. So I'm not sure if it's worth doing a dedicated video on anything else unless more interesting stuff comes out later on, but I think I might want to do a fight scene autopsy because that was real bad. Okay. Then look, there's a scene about, the real reason I want to help the Southlanders is because we'll get resources and trade, and it's all because
I'll get something back from it.
Yep. But what's interesting about that, the son seems to agree with him.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
He's like, oh, wow, Dad, you're actually kind of smart.
Yeah.
I get the political side of this.
So the show is so it's a bit further on. He speaks plainly, forest trade, tribute, and everything. So,
And then it goes back to
I do. So maybe they're showing that he's still disagreeing, because he's like, I can get all that, so I wouldn't, trade the opportunities rich for all the salt in the sea, and neither should you. I am interested in what they show his reaction, the son's reaction in particular. Okay, it doesn't look like he's convinced by it. He is still... Actually, no, that was like a conciliatory, he's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Because my impression first watching was that he kind of yields to the logic. It's like, my dad's right.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And he didn't raise his voice at his dad either. He didn't use the technique that was...
That's right. He was just supposed to speak louder. See, look at it.
He's just like, he's defeated. He's like, you know what?
So...
Makes a good point.
Because at no point did I get the impression that he is so against this war that is ready to be like a full-on saboteur and destroy entire boats to do it. That's a treasonous offence. Like hanging, beheading, right?
Destroying a Navy boat?
That's so extreme. And what a friggin' moron. Does he really think destroying a boat will stop the war? Like, what did he hope to achieve by that?
They can build more boats.
They have already 8 that we saw, let alone the entire fleet that we haven't. And it's like, this will stop him from going.
Yeah.
So, is he a terrorist? Is he an insurrectionist? Like, we don't know. We're not given it. And it's just motivations that don't make sense. That's this show. Next scene is talking with the dad, and he's like, he comes to a senses, you can't go because if you go, there'll be darkness or something. Oh. And then Discount Gandalf is doing something weird. He's like
healing himself with ice.
But we didn't see his hand get healed. He just has the hand that he hurt in it, and it gets ice on it. And then
it's all better.
Nori touches it, her hand gets iced onto it, and she can't break free. And then she does break free. Oh no, she eventually does. And she falls down, it's like, oh, what happened? And now she's afraid of him and she runs away. And he's like, my hand. And is that the last that we, like, I can't remember what happened after that with the half-wits because I don't care. But does anything else happen?
I don't actually remember.
I think that's the last that we saw of them.
Yeah.
That's not even halfway through the episode.
Again, they set up crap that they don't pay off. And then will they address it next? So they probably will this one, but oh my goodness. And then it's the dinner with Durin and the elves. All right, I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Oh no, I would just say Durin, I think, is my favorite character in the show.
Yeah, by far. And that's not saying a lot because he's inconsistent in a big way.
He's inconsistent. His environment's inconsistent, but I think as a character, he's the one that I smiled the most watching this when he does stuff.
Though I'm not sure what to think about the table thing. And so he says that, well, look, we'll go through the scene, okay?
Yep.
And this show, it's like watching a show that has, I don't know, split personality, where they don't follow up on things that they say. There's like non sequiturs and everything. And so they're about to drink, and he says, before our wine ascends, and I'm like, doesn't wine go down the throat? I don't know.
Guess
small little ascent. It just like, maybe, you know.
Hey, a rock looks down.
But then he says, Durin, I should like to commend you. And then he doesn't commend him at all. And he just asks a question.
Yeah.
That's not a compliment. He's like, what, do you see what I say about, like, feels like split person schizophrenia, something like, aren't you going to follow up on what you propose, I should like to commend you. And then he goes on explanation that the Khazad-dûm has been busy using their forges a lot. What are you up to? It's like...
I mean, I guess he's kind of been like, good job for having an industrious culture.
I didn't get that vibe.
It switches too much to being like asking too many questions.
Yeah, like
interviewing
he's
him.
prying now.
So,
like this is the so I should like to commend you. The very next line is Khazad-dûm has been called the quietest of dwarven kingdoms, and but in recent months your furnace is said to be. But where's the compliment there? I'm not seeing anything, and this is already into a question, a prying question. It's like okay. I do, like, there's one line from Durin, which I was like, okay, maybe I'll give you that one. And he goes, like, why are you complimenting on speed or something like that? Typically it takes you people weeks just to decide to take a, and he leads into, and then Elrond cuts him off. I was like, all right, I'll give you that one, Durin.
Yeah.
They got a new writer just for that line. Someone new, like, I bet, like, they're writing, they're like, I can't think of a line. What if he says this? And it's a great, I was like, you should hire the guy that suggested that line.
Maybe the actor even just did that as well. But look, I condone swearing. I think you shouldn't really swear. And in Tolkien's works, I think the two things...
you're right.
If there is anything in the show in later seasons as well, if there's swearing or any sort of sex scenes and stuff like that, I'm going.
You're like you were almost there with a good line, and then you friggin' ruined it by introducing a potential swear word. Yes, it was cut off, but we all knew what he was saying, and so this is confirmed. SHIT is in the dwarven language, or not just the normal language here. Common, normal, everyday swearing. Come on, like they can't even get a half-decent line right. And they could have switched it to any other thing, like, take a dump or whatever.
Even just take a...
Yeah, and cut it off there.
Could be anything then. But yeah, no, if they introduce foul language or any sex scenes, which I am very concerned there will be with some characters in the future with the way they set the romances, that's a big no-no, I think, for any of Tolkien's works. Those are the two things. But this is also proof the show sucks, because that's the one scene that made
I know, there's a one line
was a foul joke
that might have worked, and yet they still ruin it by contradicting the world lore and feel. Bit sudden for elves, no? But look, he's happy. He's enjoying it. He's eating away. Yeah, typically teach people, we just decided to take her. The delivery, again, they ruin it at the end, though. You're right, they ruin it at the end. Okay. And then he says, I got a question for you. Where'd you get this this table? Now, I'm a little undecided, because Durin actually tears up when he's talking about this.
Yeah.
And if it turns out it's bullcrap, he just wanted a free table, I don't think he would be that good of an actor. Like...
Oh no, he hasn't been in the past either. When there's, when the emotions get the better of him, he usually controls that. Loses control. So I don't think he can really. He's not very good at controlling his emotions enough to fool elves into saying, "Oh, this table here." Also, the fact. Okay, the thing that pulled me out of it was like, this is a sacred table we're eating on.
Well, specifically a stone. First, I was wondering, the implication is that only dwarves can get access to this stone, because you have to dig so deep to get it. It's really rare, and we only use it for our monuments and our burial tombs, implying that elves took this from an ancient dwarven place, off of a dwarven...
Or they're constructing right now, they could say that you stole this from the construction site and you're eating on it.
But not even construction. It's just like he's implying that they grave robbed a dwarven tomb and is now using it as a table.
Yeah.
And that's like, whoa, serious, right? The thing is, though, the elves are really old, and so the king probably knows where the table came from, and this is why it's not working for me. What if he just said, no, we bought this from like a dwarven trader, but he caves into it like they've done potential... And so that's why it might have worked if it was being honest and true about it. But then it's a joke, and now it doesn't make sense, because if it is a joke and it's not really this special thing, the elves probably remember where the table came.
Or they'll make note of that now, that stone being particularly sensitive, and so they won't use it anymore. But the thing I find dumb, right, was Durin says, this table was very sacred to me, my family. We shouldn't eat on it. All right, let's dig in.
Yeah, and there's
And they
like
don't do
on
anything
it.
about it. They eat the table, they clear it, and then afterwards they take it. It's like they're being sacrilegious, and then they keep
That is
going.
fine with it. Like, wouldn't anything else say, then why are you eating on it, Durin?
It's like, should we move our dinner somewhere else?
So they just fail at execution so much. And yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's that. And then we get into this bullcrap kind of arc about Mithril and the elves suddenly dying. Like, what? Where did that come from? How did we reach this? Gosh. And then it's so dumb. It's like, so your loyalty to the wars is admirable, blah, blah, blah. Lying. But then, right, there's an exchange. Okay. He mentions that there's... all right. He mentions that there's some type of mineral that is after. And the way he describes it is like, just, is this guy evil? And I'm not, like, the sad thing is, the writers don't think they're setting him up as evil, probably, but they make him sound really evil, right? Because, anyway, he says, you're lying to me. What the high king is the fact that you have been lying to me. So we might need to bring it down just so I get it to the right point. And I also want to remember the dialogue, because Elrond basically stuffs up and gives it away instantly by omission, and it's so obvious.
And then the rest of the episode is saying, should I betray my friend by telling them what I know?
You already have Elrond!
Should I betray Durin? Should I betray Durin in telling you that Mithril, that they found it?
But not
I
only
don't know, I
that,
should break my oath.
he's talking to Celebrimbor,
Yeah.
who he gave the Mithril to. Celebrimbor
he's like-
hands the Mithril back, and is like, I'm worried if I should betray.
Should I break my oath?
But
I
you
don't know.
just did! You showed the Mithril to Celebrimbor, you friggin' idiot! You've just betrayed the oath, and now it's all cut up. I can't betray my oath, you moron!
No, he breaks it at
That's right.
yeah. The line here I have, this is when he breaks it. The king says they say it seeped down the roots in the mountain depths, where for centuries now it has waited. And then Elrond says Durin was right, and the king says, then you admit the dwarves did find it, containing the light.
He's
the
right.
lost Cimmeral.
That's just to me. He did. He just
And then he
admitted it.
says, I admit only this. I promised Durin never to reveal his people's secrets. Tell me, Durin. Oh, sorry. Tell me, Elrond. Is this a secret? I promised I wouldn't tell, but I promised I wouldn't tell.
But he just said Durin was right after the king proposed.
Durin was right.
You just admitted it, you moron. It's like the writing in this show is so bloody stupid.
Yeah, just saying you swore an oath to Durin when asking a yes or no question. It's just implying yes.
Yeah. And so, previous to this, right, it leads in with the king saying, recite to me a story about this tree. And Elrond's like, oh, it's a legend regarded by most apocryphal. And it's like, hey, just recount it, all right? Just do it. And so Elrond says this, right? And what this story is complete bullcrap. It was so bad, my lore expert I'm working with emailed me saying, this is all bullcrap, right? Where supposedly one of the lost Silmarils, and so if you've been watching the show, the Silmarils have already been mentioned. The Silmarils are these really precious gems that Feanor made, so the elves in the Undying Lands, okay? And so not on Middle-earth, Feanor made 3 Silmarils, and they're really precious because they have the light within them, the original light of the trees of the world. So before, when the world was made, there was no sun, and the light came from these trees. You saw it in the first episode. The Silmarils captured the light of these trees, and this light, it seems to have some really important stuff, magical properties. Okay, Morgoth stole the Silmarils, and then there was this massive big thing to get them back. Feanor, specifically his sons, swore an oath to get the Silmarils back, and because the Silmarils belonged to the Feanor family. It was so crazy that when another elf got a hands on them, the sons of Feanor would attack and kill the elves, and it led to the first, second skin slayings. All right, and so they're pretty full on. But the fate of the Silmarils is recorded. They know exactly where each one ended up. One in the sky, one in a volcano, and one in the ocean, okay? And so the fact that there was a lost Silmaril in a tree is just bull crap. Complete made up bull crap in terms of the lore of Tolkien. And then they try and claim that this is the creation of Mithril, which is also bull crap in terms of the lore. Yeah, they're respecting Tolkien and everything. This is complete all of this is bullcrap. The fact that the elves are suddenly dying and they need the light of Valinor or something that is only in Mithril, it's so stupid. And then it's because the legend is lightning struck this tree, right? There's a picture of it in the flashback where some elf was fighting a Balrog to protect the Silmaril that was trapped in the tree. And then lightning struck it, which sent the light in the tree, or the magic in the tree, down into the earth. And that was the creation of Mithril. And Mithril is just like a really special, fancy thing. It didn't have... This is all made up. It is not Tolkien lore.
You got it down so you can go quickly to it.
Okay, well, you can bring it up because, yeah, this is it here. So, yeah, this is like the Balrog fighting the guy. And as I mentioned... complete bullcrap. And then they have a part where it gets struck by lightning and gets sent down and everything. So I'll bring it down because then it goes into a description of Mithril. So bring that up.
Yep.
So is it up? So it gets struck, the tree gets struck, and then the light, and this is the birth of Mithril. And by creating this narrative for Mithril, so if we bring it down, because I want to, it says, forging their conflict, a power, right? This is the king speaking. A power is pure as light. Sorry, a power as pure and light as good. So now he's describing the properties of Mithril. As pure and light as good. And then, as strong and unyielding as evil. So the properties of Mithril have the properties of both good and evil. And it's like, whoa, hang on a second. And then he says, like, evil is strong and unyielding. It's like, that's not an inherent property of evil. And if someone thinks evil has those properties, I would be a bit worried about him. I'd be like, dude, you think evil is strong and unyielding, so it's unbeatable? Dude, calm down. And so by forcing this bullcrap thing of the creation of Mithril, they have this evil... Mithril was created of, like, the combination of good and evil and has corruptive properties. The implication is it's not good, and yet because it has the light of Valinor or something in it, that's going to be the way that they cure themselves of this thing. Oh my goodness. So anyway, there's those moments. Like I said, it's bullcrap. Then Elrond admits it. Durin was right. It's like a good way to keep the secret. And he freaking shows the Mithril to Celebrimbor. And it's like, yeah, and he swear upon the stone and other things. Yeah. Like one of the most crazy vows ever to never...
It would never leave his ears or something.
Yeah.
Like he's never going to even verbally admit anything of it. First thing he says, oh, Durin was right. Oh.
Yeah. And then the king says, like, if he keeps a secret, he'll ensure the doom of your own. It's like, if you keep the secret to honor other people, you'll ensure the doom of your own. And it was like, what? And then the king takes him to the tree. And this is where I think already it's off the rails, but it goes off the rails. Another thing where the tree, it has like, an evil fungus evil thing growing on it. And that means the elves are going to die.
Yep.
I'm like, whoa, hold up. That's a bit of a leap, isn't it? So, like, where did this come from? And he's trying to say that, like, darkness is spreading. All right, I need to get to my notes because they notice the evil decay before Galadriel arrive, right? But that would have been proof that evil is returning.
Yep.
The very thing Galadriel was saying. He says that this corruption was there before. And so why did he send Galadriel away? And then he says, because her trying to stop it might have... They specifically says they needed to end all war to stop the spread of darkness. I'm like, you're basically saying that you're not going to fight evil. Like, the act of fighting evil in a combative sense is an evil that will spread more darkness. That's the message. And I'm like, what the freaking hell? Like, just roll over and let evil have its way, and it might not do it and just leave you alone? That's his theory. That's his tactic. I sent Galadriel away so she'll stop her hunting and we'll end all war. And I was first like, you would have only ended war with the elves. What about the wars amongst the humans? Dwarves are probably having a tussle here and there. I was like, that would contribute to, you know, badness in the world, would it not? But no, so the logic is already nonsense, okay? And yet he just goes with it.
There's also a line he says, let me see if I can find it. Because they talk about hope as well.
Yeah,
that was another thing.
We'll get there. I'll get there.
Okay.
So he specifically says, by sending Galadriel away, he hoped to bring an end to the last vestiges of war. So they might stop the decay. And I'm just thinking, they haven't established a through line for that. So why is this decay growing as a result of wars in the world? If anything, this is a big sign that something bad and evil is still in the world, and you might want to find where it is and stop it.
Also, Galadriel came back from fighting a war, and so you'd think that since they're no longer out battling or doing anything, that the decay would begin to heal itself.
Yeah, and so your plan doesn't seem to be working, you astronomical moron, because there's no connection. Why would you think that? He just does. And then they establish another connection, that this decay will cause all the elves to die. I'm like, what? Where, how, why, through? It's like this show either spells things out when it's so bleedingly obvious, or doesn't establish really important plot points.
All the context
to give us the context of why this is even happening. And I was like, so last vestiges of war, so they might stop the decay. And I was like, the wars aren't going away. And then he says, despite our every effort, it's still growing. And I'm like, what effort? Your effort was to do nothing. You have it like, we'll just do nothing and hope evil stops.
It didn't stop. Man.
Oh.
So much effort.
And so then he pushes it, and I ask again for the last time.
But you already know.
I know. I was like, dude, he's admitted it.
That's why I can't get this whole episode. Elrond's just like, do I betray my friend? When do you? He already knows. Why are you asking?
It's so bad.
Because it's like, because you won't tell me word for word, therefore you're betraying our people.
Yeah.
Even though you told me yes anyways.
And so at this moment, I was thinking like, well, is he maybe going to use the light of Mithril? And Mithril canonically doesn't emanate light. It just reflects light and is shiny in that sense. But like, he wants to use the light to purge the tree or something. But it goes on to this weird kind of description that the light in the elves are fading away. And what was the email? What did he specifically say, hun? So my wife has the email of the lore, because that's not how elves work in the lore or canon. But so yeah, did the dwarves find the ore or not? I was just like, he already has.
The fading which the elves experience is the opposite of spirits dwindling into nothing. Fading is how elvish bodies are consumed by their powerful spirits. This is a massive lore expert. He says, so elves experience a fading when their spirits kind of become so strong in the magic that it consumes their physical form almost. That's my understanding, or, the interpretation of the email. And so that's also why the elves eventually had to leave Middle-earth in Lord of the Rings. And so it felt like they're trying to do the thing that happened in Lord of the Rings here. And I'm like, isn't this way early for something like that? It's bizarre. And then there's like just an awful line where it's like, when all other senses sleep, the eye of hope is first to awaken and last to shut.
Yep. That was an awful line.
Just such driveling crap. Oh my goodness. I want to get to it because there's a lead in about it. So if we bring it down, I want to play it through to get to the line because we've got the thing. Because the hope that they're asking for, is like mithril, basically. He thinks that there's no other way to combat this darkness apart from mithril. And to me, it's like this, what looks to be like the evil growing, stuff is a manifestation of the fact that Sauron and orcs are in the world and there's evil corruption seeping into the things of Middle-earth. And look, he says, if the elves abandon, so bring this up. He says, if the elves abandon Middle-earth, the armies of darkness will march over the face of the earth. So he knows that the armies of darkness are around. He didn't need proof from Galadriel, everything. He totally screwed her over.
Yeah, and then he says, it will be the end of not just our people, but of all people.
Gosh.
So Galadriel showed up and said, darkness is coming, we need to fight! And he said, no, peacetime. You go
away with the theory that by stopping war, that'll stop evil's spread because, don't oppose evil. That'll definitely make it stop. And then he's like, we need the mithril to save the elves so the elves can wage a war against the armies of darkness and stop them. The war which is the very thing you think is the thing that's causing the sickness to spread to kill the elves. Do you see the contradictory logic in this crap? Gosh, they can't even get it. So this is what I mean about how they're so desperate to establish motivations here, but they don't know what to do. They don't know how to do it. And so they end up making contradictory, nonsensical crap.
Like, how does mithril help them anymore? Like, okay, I guess it's more strong and powerful, but they've already defeated darkness before. They can just do it again.
Yeah. Like you defeated Morgoth. You think suddenly like some weird
Sauron
vine stuff on the tree is like you can't. Oh, we need it. We need the mithril now.
No, they just need a conflict with Elrond and Durin, and so he has to push him to. Make him break his oath. That's the only reason.
This is another one of those moments where they want, some artificial conflict and they don't know how to make it logically. And so they're just like, elves are going to die. Even though it contradicts everything I was saying because to oppose darkness, you need to fight darkness. But fighting is war and war is the thing you're saying that's causing to spread the darkness. So if we bring it down, I want to get to that, the comments on hope. Then not just the end of our people, but of all peoples. If the hope of preventing that is not reason enough, so there's like the hope they're specifically speaking about is like mithril is their hope to prevent the elves just. It's like they have a plague now. The elves are just dying out of some random plague that's appeared in this episode because reasons. Like, okay, sure.
And they just need shiny metal to feel better.
And so if that is not reason enough to make you reconsider your oath. We can bring it down now. So I suggest you find another reason to break your oath, basically. Yeah. But, dude, you already know. The oath is broken. It's in tatters. It's shattered. And, yeah, there is that line. I don't know if he was before then.
Further back. He says, to some, that may hold little weight, but in my esteem, it is very much our souls are bounded. I do not intend to let mine slip away on the basis of mere hope. And then he says, hope is never mere, Elrond, even when it is meager. Now, I looked at definitions for the words
mere and meager. Tell me.
Meager is lacking in quantity or quality or small. Meager, or mere, is used to emphasize how small or significant something is. So, translation to how to do with the episode 2. They mean mostly the same thing. It's like saying...
It is the same thing! It means the bloody same thing!
Hope is never small, even when it is little. That's what they're saying. Again, big words sound smart. When you actually look at the definitions, you sound like an idiot.
Gosh, it's their desperate attempt to sound wise and meaningful, and they don't. And yeah, then here's that line: "The eye of hope
is first to awaken, last to shut."
Here it is. Even when all other senses sleep, the eye of hope is first to awaken and last to shut. It's like, this is just driveling crap.
You didn't give much hope to Galadriel when she showed up.
Okay, and so the whole thing was about Is the mithril real? Is it not? Is it real or not? The king has barely left. He could turn around at any moment, and Elrond decides to pull out the mithril and look at it. Gosh, you're great at keeping secrets, Elrond. Elves who have like super late, like binocular eyes. True. He could just, like the king could just like gab. Someone could be a mile away and see this.
He's got great hearing too. You can just see the tinkling in his pockets.
Yes.
But no, my main comment here was Elrond is an awful liar and a terrible friend.
Oh, the terrible friend part is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. My goodness. Yeah, so when he took the mithril out, I was like, are you kidding me? Oh, anyway, so that was a painful scene to get through. I mean, when you actually slow down, break down what they're actually saying, it's all nonsensical, contradictory crap.
Yep.
But it's so confusing for a casual viewing, most people won't even pick up on it. And the response is most people just find it boring. I saw a chat saying, I fell asleep in that scene. But break it down, and it's awful. Okay, so... yeah, the Númenóreans are celebrating, going to war. Isildur wants to go. His friend is now a lieutenant, and he can make him. And you're going to get me to arrive. It's like, too bad, I'm not going to do it. It might ruin my thing. I'll let you punch me. He gets punched. There's like no mark on his face at all. So this is after he gets like this full-on smack in the face. And no mark. See, yeah, nothing there. He's fine.
He's just an awful friend too, because he's like, oh, I'm sorry I started the fight. And the friend's like, okay, stop. I know what you're going to say exactly. And he goes, nah, what do you think you're going to say? You're going to ask me for a position. You're going to, nah, but can you do it?
Yeah.
Can you give me a spot? That's a jerk move right there. You're not even being sincere in your apology. You just want a spot on the crew.
Yeah. So... and he doesn't achieve anything about that, right?
Yeah.
So he can't get, and so they could have cut this scene and just moved to the next one.
It's all, and he says like, I want to make things right. It's like, you don't want to make things right for your friendship. You just want to, and you have the comedy with the other friend being like, oh, I would have forgiven you straight away and whatever. So yeah.
And the thing is, we don't care about these characters, and so nothing is interesting. We're invested in it, like none of the show.
Like when he says, I care for you, Beric.
Yeah.
Who are these people?
So then we cut to this scene, and it's the guy, right? This guy. So this is him sneaking aboard, and he's freaking ready to torch a boat. To do what? To achieve what? Like
There's actually, I gotta go back to the last scene. There's one line that finishes off that I was like, okay, sure, we'll end on that.
Yeah.
His other friend just looks at him and says, I'll take care of Beric, his horse. And he's like, Beric's going? Yeah, the horse master recruited him. The sea is always right.
Yeah.
And it walks off. He's just like,
the sea didn't recruit him. You said the horse master did.
And the Beric horses get recruited into the Coast Guard?
I love it. So now you can use that phrase to justify anything, even when it's not related to the sea. Why'd you take my coins? The sea's always right. You just can't argue with it.
It was just so... It's like, yeah, you're not going, but your horses.
Anyway,
so...
Yeah, you're right.
I had to bring that one up because that was a doozy.
Thank you. That is a doozy. There's such an awful, like, you know, is it a mantra? It's when you have like a thing you recite as something to represent something. The words they're trying to copy the words of like House in Game of Thrones, you know.
Yeah.
Where it's like winter is coming and there's like the sea is always right.
Yeah.
Oh, guess what the sea told me? Rings of Power is freaking crap. Tells me it all the time. Okay, so yeah, what is this guy's plan? The setup is he wants to stop the war, even though the previous scene seemed like he was agreeing with his dad. But now he's just gone all crazy and he'll torch a boat, which won't do anything. It'll just torch a boat. Yeah. Does he plan to set the entire Navy on fire?
And you know what? Navy is at the docks with his people.
Insane insurrectionist terrorist now, this guy.
Again, this is the example of he thinks, you know, doing the wrong thing will lead to the right action in the end.
Where are the guards on the ship? Like there has to be guards on the ship, at least one or two. So he's really willing to murder them.
Or someone would see some stranger jump onto a boat.
You'd think so. There's people at the docks, right?
Yeah.
And then this is, look, see these kegs? They have taps on them. Like, do you see the taps right here? These are okay. That means they're for dispensing a drinkable liquid. And so it's wine.
That's what it is. It's either wine, and we see it, and so he spills it out, right? And I just can't believe this. This is just like beyond stupidity, right? Because we'll get there. So anyway, he spills that out. So maybe you want to try and set a fire with it. You could set like a small fire, and if you're wanting to burn it down, but maybe people could put it out. I don't know, but still, like this guy's plan is stupid. He hears a noise because Isildur just made a noise.
Clearly someone's walking around the boat. You know what? I realized that's really dumb. You're trying to be a stowaway, and then obviously here's someone coming through, probably see the light through the fabric that you're hiding under. You don't want to go
really loud, obvious noise for the first person that walks down there.
Oh.
And he finds him really quickly.
He's like, oh yes, these rags right here. That's where they
definitely.
What are the chances? What are the chances?
Oh, I can't believe this crap. And it's like, why are you here? But then Isildur's, why are you here? Oh, spilt, wine, lantern in hand. You're gonna burn down the ship. You're a saboteur. You're about to burn the boat, caught red-handed, right? And then they tussle and they fight. And in the fight, of course, what happens is, you know what I love about this, right? They drop it. It's like, oh, we won't try and put it out. I mean, it's just a little oil fire. It hasn't spread. He's on fire a bit, but maybe you could try and put it out. But then he throws it towards the wine. Okay, and this is not wine, but you'll see why in a second. We might have to full screen this because, my goodness. So we saw the wine approaching the fire. Isildur and the guy is just like, yeet.
He trips and falls, which I just was like, oh my god.
Of course.
Idiot.
Of bloody course, right? Like, full screen this. Ready? Remember it was wine? Look at this! Holy crap! What the hell was that, C4? You're telling me wine did that? Bull crap! No, shut up, show! I'm not buying. Get out of here! You're drunk! Come off it! Not a chance. That's not even C4. That's bloody.
There's like barrels and barrels of explosives.
And they even refer to them as like a keg caught fire. So like, that's it? This is like, I don't know, insane firewater stuff from Game of Thrones or something. Like, I can't believe it. Now it attracts everyone. And like, what, no one else is on the dock? Don't give me that. Look at that. Look at that.
Man, isn't it lucky that they found each other? Imagine if Isildur was on a different boat.
Yeah, right?
He would have been dead.
Very convenient.
What are the chances?
And so there seems to have been no one else around. Like, no one died. There was no guards on everything. In fact, the only two people that were near a boat that exploded were the guys swimming. I'm not a detective, okay? I'm just saying. It's a little suspicious, don't you think? A boat just exploded, two people swimming away from said boat, and we're like, what? Nah, they're not suspects. And if we bring it down, I'll play it to find the line, because I want to read the explanation. He's like, Isildur, what are you doing here? Good question. Why the hell is he there? So he says what happened, and they're like, he was in a fishing boat, a cask must have gone up. That's your excuse, Isildur? Like, the random guy was in a boat, fishing boat, which we can't see. Where's the fishing boat? And a cask must have gone up when there seemed to have been no one on the boat. And you two are the only people near it. This friggin' show, man. It's like, you lose brain cells. It's so dumb. Gosh. And then they're like, oh, okay, then he just accepts it. It's like, oh, I'm glad. I forget what he says. A cask? Yeah, a cask did friggin' that? Bull crap. Oh, my goodness. Just look at him. He's not buying it. Can we bring that full screen? But he's not buying it, but they don't follow up. In fact, Isildur gets promoted and allowed to join the army as a result. No one has suspicion at all, but he gets rewarded for supposedly saving the other suspect's life. It's just like, this show has no logical consistency, no intelligence to it. And again, how are you supposed to be invested in anything when you have this level of stupidity, where they don't set up or pay off anything of significance or don't follow through with any level of logic? Like they would be thrown in prison and they would be questioned to bullcrap. They're not suspects over this. And that ends up setting on fire another boat. So 2 boats are destroyed. But instead of being suspects, Isildur gets rewarded. And they just, watching the fire from like, that's unfortunate. We have reason to suspect a passing brigand. Really? Did anyone see it? Like the 2 people swimming away from said on fire boat?
Again, I don't think they should go to war because they're all idiots.
They're all idiots.
Like, I'd hate to see them in warfare doing something.
Oh, but we've yet to identify them, right? And then it's like we find out they only have 3 boats, even though they literally show like 7 or 8 in the opening. Oh,
unbelievable.
And then they mustn't have a larger navy out. No, they only have 3. No, that's it. Just 3 ships. And then Galadriel starts lying through her teeth about and totally not Sauron again. Because the Queen's like, is
he going to do what you're telling him to do?
And she's like, yeah, of course. He'll definitely be here tomorrow for the council. And so the Al-Farazon guy, this guy here, this is where he starts to say maybe we shouldn't go. He's flipping on it now for some reason. Don't know. We're not given a reason why. He's just, yeah. And then she needs to think about it, and Galadriel lies, and then it switches to these guys. And this is where we find out that, Elrond totally gave Celebrimbor the mithril. He wouldn't tell anyone. And he goes right ahead and tells Celebrimbor.
Who tests it and says,
Tests it!
It's really strong. This stuff's good. We need more of this.
This is Celebrimbor handing the mithril back to Elrond. What have you been able to ascertain? Elrond is a lying scumbag. He's full of crap. Like, he's lied so much in this series. Like, I'm just here to see a friend. I don't have an ulterior motive at all. And he even says in this episode, I actually, I didn't come to see it. I have an old. And Durin was really offended about it, accused Elrond and everything. Elrond admits to it, and then he's like, fine now.
Yeah. Now
okay. This bloody show. And so so much stupidity has happened. Even this is so ridiculous. It's as bad as everything else, but you're almost numb to it by now. But we can't let it slide because it is astronomically stupid. Yeah, Elrond shows Gil-galad, or whatever the guy, the mithril. And then there's this conversation about you knew it was their plan. Something, that the forge wasn't really the plan. It was to get the mithril. But then I was like, then why are you doing the forge? It's like, is it I don't know.
Is the forge going to be used for the mithril?
To make the mithril? Do you need to do something to the mithril to save the elves or something? Don't know, okay? But they literally say in this scene, the mithril is their only salvation now. Unless we believe if we can secure vast quantities of it quickly, enough to saturate every last elf in the light of the Valar once more. And I'm like, this escalated so fast. Gosh.
Also, this is a rare material. I don't think I have enough for all the elves that live. And to cover them in it.
If something's happening to the elves to the point where they're about to die, how do the elves not know about it? But no, it's the tree. And what's the connection, Gosh. breathe heavily. Then yes. It very well could be the means to their salvation, basically.
the writing is so dumb. The setup is dumb. It's like, we need the elves to want the mithril. Why do we need that conflict between elves and dwarves? Okay, well, how we do it? Well, mithril. We'll make the mithril have like the light of Valar and bull crap bastardized the lore of the Silmarils to do it. And now we'll make the elves dying, and it's just come off it. That's your best effort, really.
Oh, just to get Elrond to be like, do I break my oath that I've already broken?
You couldn't think of any other way to like have the elves want mithril or something? Gosh. It's crap. It's complete crap. Mithril's their only salvation, vast quantities to saturate, like how do they saturate every elf? Don't know what that means. And then, so Elrond, he's saying that people are doomed unless he breaks the oath. And I'm like, Elrond, you just did by showing you the ore to Celebrimbor, you moron. Oh.
But then afterwards, he's like, do I break the oath or not? Then he's just like, your father said this thing. Only he could do it, Elrond. So break the treaty. The elves already know. They've got it. He's touched it. Yeah. He knows it. He's like, yeah, I tested it. It's good stuff. We can just go to the elves now and talk to go to the dwarves and stuff.
So, Celebrimbor, you just tell the king. Yeah. But the king should already know as well.
He does. Because Elrond told him. He was like, Durin was right.
So, what they're trying to do is Elrond is the only one who's in a position to convince Durin to give them the mithril.
Yeah.
That's not breaking the oath. The breaking the oath was the secret of telling anyone.
Yeah.
And so you shouldn't be asking him to break the issue. Say, Elrond, we need you to convince Durin to let us get the mithril. I've seen it.
You already broken the oath. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, they have it.
So totally not Sauron is Suvi. And then this line, there's a voice from off screen, and it's Galadriel saying, I was wrong to use you.
It's I was wrong to use you.
But I'm now going to manipulate you
now
to use you.
I need you to do something for me.
Oh, and then she goes on, and the manipulation bullcrap she spins here to get him to do what she wants is next level, right? And so she just comes off two-faced, manipulative, narcissistic in the extreme. And also, unstable, because she doesn't know what she wants. This is where they try and define her motivation, and they don't know. The writers don't know, so they end up writing gobbledygook bullcrap, which is contradictory, and we'll break it down. So anyway, I was wrong to use you. There's a bullcrap. And then, totally not Sauron is like, you don't know what I did before I ended up on that raft. You don't know how I survived. Yes, we know you're Sauron, okay? So we get it, all right? And then he's even like, when these people discover it, they will cast me out, and so will you. It's like, wow, you couldn't be more on the nose. And then there's the line, sometimes to find, that's right.
Yeah,
because
this is when I lost it.
Because he says, you don't know what I've done, where I've come from, and they cut to this other scene. And then she comes back with that line, sometimes to find the light, we must first touch the darkness. Also, sometimes you don't have to do that. You don't have to embrace the dark evil to do good.
I completely disagree. There's nothing in this show that would make me want to bear arms more than this comment. Okay? Okay, where do I start with? You don't need to do something evil, okay? You don't need to touch the darkness. You don't need to follow darkness to understand light.
Mm-hmm. I agree completely.
Doing something wrong never, ever makes a right.
Mm-hmm.
Fundamentally, that's what the story is trying to say. Like, from the beginning, light,
it's
rock looks down.
It's the message of the first episode. And Galadriel dives into the darkness of the ocean, seemingly implying that she will embrace the darkness.
Yep. Doing the wrong thing, because in the end, that will help for the good of something. The rock might sink, look down. Sometimes... Okay. It's bad ethics.
Yep.
It's morally awful.
Mm-hmm.
And it is what the story has been trying to promote from the beginning.
Yeah. who would have guessed that the people writing this show don't have a moral compass and proper ethics and stuff like that? And it's Amazon, okay? Who would have thunk, right? It's made by people who have certain agendas, which is completely contradictory and hypocritical from the get-go. So, of course, they can't be consistent when they want a thematical morality or message to the series. And this is what we get here. They're trying to be deep and meaningful when they actually end up proposing a philosophy that's vile. I mean, gosh, if like so much would cause J.R. Tolkien to, spin his grave. This is a massive one, right? Like,
no, my last comments were: it is wrong, it is evil, and it should be done away with. No one, anyone in the sound of my voice should not stand for this moral judgment of you got to touch them, do bad things for the greater good. Never.
And the thing is, I know what they're trying to go for, but they're so incompetent and lost, and they don't understand morality and ethics that they're going for something like this, and it's so easy to fix. How about no one has fallen so far into darkness that they cannot turn to the light?
And that changes the whole perspective.
Changes that philosophy. It's a completely different philosophy, a philosophy about redemption and that the light is stronger than darkness. And like that, it's not hard. How did you get that line when it's so easy to figure out what the correct morality is?
Because the issue with this is that they're always going to say, I can't be as good as I can be until I've done the bad.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Where redemption is better because it says, no one's perfect. We do wrong things, but we can always be redeemed. We always turn back to the light. That's what you want. It's like...
It's not hard. No. And you could have worded it that way. It would have been somewhat poetic, no one has fallen so far into darkness they cannot once again find the light.
That would have been
so much better. But she's basically saying it was right for you to touch the darkness.
Yep.
Gosh.
You got to touch it because if you want to be good, you got to be a bit bad.
It's awful, right? And then, so... he asked her, like, why does it matter to you? Let's bring it down, because I do want to read, get some of the lines, because this is all awful nonsense bullcrap. Totally not Sauron. He turns and looks at, there's a long shot, like, what do you know of darkness, Galadriel? And I mean, good question. But she might know a lot. She's pretty awful. I wouldn't surprise me if she has some skeletons in her closet. And then he's like, "Whose dagger was it, Galadriel?" And I'm like, okay, that's a bit of a flip. Like you're onto something. He's like, "Who is it you lost?" "My brother," she says. "What happened to him? He was killed in a place of darkness and despair." But that's where he was, not where you were. What do you know? Anyway, and so he's like, so darkness and despair, killed by servants of Sauron. And this is the line. "So, this is about revenge." Vengeance. Her response is, "One cannot satisfy thirst by drinking seawater." Or she could have said, no. But no, they have to be like, oh, we're so Tolkien, we're so fluffy, look at our language.
It's the most jarring comment in a conversation.
Yeah. It's like, I wasn't talking about seawater, Galadriel. I was talking about revenge, you moron.
And thirst? What?
And look, the metaphor is that revenge doesn't properly quench the thing.
But then her response to this as well is even more stupid.
But the thing is, though, it is kind of revenge, though. She took up her brother's quest to defeat Sauron for killing her brother.
Yeah, it's vengeance. It is a story of vengeance.
She could have just said, no, it's justice. The interesting, debate. What is justice versus vengeance? Interestingly enough, that's the very theme and discussion I have in my book. But yes, there's a very significant discussion about vengeance and justice in this. And oddly enough, right, just a bit of a segue, but this is something that's one of the most fulfilling things as a writer, when you discover things that you didn't really know because you were approaching something from someone else's perspective. Mm-hmm. And so when I was trying to address the question, but what is the difference between vengeance and justice, I was approaching it from the mindset of a very important character. How would they approach it? And what came out of approaching that question from that person's perspective taught me something. I was like, wow, that's something I wouldn't have said myself. I was like,
And it felt like it wasn't coming from me. It felt, and that's when writing is such a joy, where things like that happen, when you get taught something by your own characters that you've fleshed out and everything. And I found it was actually quite meaningful to his answer. And so if you want to know what that answer is, you can check out my book. Guess what? Hardcover, collector edition covers, Indiegogo. It's all available now. It was a moving thing as a writer when that happened. But anyway, they don't know the difference here. It's just vengeance, and she's it's not vengeance.
Can we just get this frame right here? That is, if that isn't Sauron,
that's a great still.
Who is he?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we'll bring it down because we need to get some of this, like, the dialogue. One cannot satisfy thirst by drinking seawater. Then what is it? Why do you keep fighting? Because people want to, like, why do you keep fighting? Good. It's like,
what is her motive? What is making her do all these rash, dumb things?
Yeah, and justice, defeating evil, those are perfectly fine motivations, okay? Sauron isn't evil. He'll overcome, like, Sauron must be stopped. Good answer there. And her answer is just, like, incredible. What was it? Did I already miss it? I can't, like,
No, that's it.
Asking me to go to one place I swore to never return. That's significant if it's Sauron, by the way. The least you can tell me is why. Yeah, why are you, like, and so instead of, like, stopping evil and everything like that, why do you keep fighting? And this is her answer. Can we bring it up? Because. That's essentially what it is. Because she says, because I cannot stop, which is effectively saying, because I cannot stop because I cannot stop. That's not an answer! You idiot! It's not a reason! And the writers think that this is something meaningful. This is her motivation. Because this is like a kid who gets caught stealing a cookie. Why'd you steal a cookie? And they don't want to say because I was greedy, I was hungry. Because like,
yep.
It's infantile. This writing was written by just infantile, immature, like people who haven't grown up. Gosh. I'm doing it because I want to. I have reasons. And what's depressing, it's easy answers. Evil. It's bad. Sauron.
To protect those you love.
Gosh. I don't want people to suffer the pain that I experienced at the loss of my brother, or you saw her, with all the helmets on that stupid pile that was dumb, that, who made it. But yeah, I have seen so much loss that I don't want it to, but no, they can't even do that. It's just because reasons. Now, there was that line where Sauron says that Galadriel wants to force him to return to the one place he swore to never return. Totally not Sauron said that. To me, that gives big implications that they are depicting that Sauron is ready to leave it all behind. He even says that, he's sorry for it all. He says, I'm sorry for you, sorry for it all. So, why? Right?
I'm just shocked that he's sorry for Galadriel. Because she would have been a pain in my neck had I.
Yeah, I know.
Hang out where it was like, I'm sorry for you. Like, bro, don't be.
She's been nothing but a cow to him, forcing him to do things against his will, right? Telling him what to do, being ungrateful. He would hate her guts. And now, but he's like, oh, I'm sorry for you. Like, yes.
Yeah, and as well, because if anything, I think she needs to check herself, because the part where she says it is hard for her to distinguish herself from the evil she is fighting. Perhaps she should look at that and think,
there's something wrong with you, Galadriel.
am I becoming the thing I'm trying to fight?
Oh. And so they're so desperate to give her a solid motivation, they're reaching for like anything that they grasp on and end up with just this convoluted crap. It's not hard, it's really easy, just stop evil, but no, she can't stop.
She says there's no lasting peace on any path except which lies across the sea.
Which is war. There's no lasting peace on any path apart from the path of war.
The opposite of peace. Does she not hear herself?
Like I said, it's like the writers are schizophrenic. It's like this show doesn't know what it's saying.
Yeah, no, here in my comments, I was just like, she's admitted already she has a problem. She's like, you know what? I don't know why I'm fighting. I've got issues, okay? Everyone hates me, but I'm still going to go and do stuff. Like, you're aware of the problem, and you don't do anything to fix it. You just keep going on your way. And when people ask you, what do you do, Gladriel? Oh, I don't know. It's just because there's something in me.
So if we bring it down, we'll bring up some of the other pearlers as like in this conversation, because it's just nonsense how it leads to one another. And so she just said, you know, from what, like, because she can't stop. So basically, yeah, because reasons. And then she's like, the company I had mutinied against me. My closest friend shipped me off. And she's like, I'm so sad and mistreated. I'm a victim. But he was asking why you're not stopping. Like,
yeah.
So is this the reason why you won't stop fighting?
Because you want to prove everyone else wrong?
Yeah, is that it?
That would make a good enough argument.
It's something. It's selfish and arrogant, but I mean, that's in line with her.
Yeah, matches her character.
But it's like, is it? Yeah, but it doesn't seem to be that anyway. Your closest friend and king sent me to exiled me. And each of them acted as they did. Pause.
For effect.
Because I believe they could no longer distinguish between me and the evil I was fighting. And so everyone, basically she's like, everyone hates me and thinks I'm evil. Like, well, that's actually a pretty accurate reading for your character.
Maybe you should reconsider your choices.
You could learn from that, Gladriel.
Yeah.
But instead, no, it's woe is me. Everyone hates me, even though I'm like the wrong one. And then... like,
why is he sorry?
He's sorry.
He says, I'm sorry.
So this conversation is like, what are they trying to establish? They're moving on from just random thing.
Yep.
For that, like, why are you fighting? Because reasons. Everyone hates me. I'm sorry. And then she's like, he says, I'm sorry. But then he goes, like, I'm sorry for it all or something. So, he says, I'm sorry for your brother, hint, hint, for all of it. It's like, that's, wow. So they are establishing Sauron is already on a redemption path, and Galadriel is pushing him to embrace war and eat battle again.
Back to the place he swore he'd never return to.
And so her response, your sorrow cannot ease my pain. Cow. Just throws
She's doing victimhood, saying,
I know.
Look how
basically
awful everything is. And then he says, oh, I'm sorry.
How dare you?
How dare you think...
And which basically means she wants to remain a victim because it makes her feel important or something
Your
like
sorrow
that.
cannot ease my pain. Okay. Jeez, at least he tried.
I know. Right? And so I'll bring it out. This is just amazing stuff. And nor will a hammer and tongs ease yours.
Oh.
It's like, hang on. It might. Like, why do you think...
Finding peace in your life, doing something you love, I think might give him more solace than going back to where he came from.
Going back to the hellscape he ran away from and fighting where he might die and face horrors, that'll definitely give him peace. That's what Gladriel... And so... What moron would truly believe this? Is Gladriel that stupid that it's like she's manipulating him? Yeah. She's like, do what I want and your life will be perfect. And so it's like she actually played the victim card. That's the only reason I can say. She played like, my brother died, everyone hates me, to get him to butter him up, make him feel sorry, so then she can twist it around and say, that won't, your sorrow won't give you peace, nor will a hammer. And so now she's using that to manipulate him to do what she wants. If you're really sorry for me, if you want to make me happy, you will find peace. But wow, she is awful. Holy crap. My goodness.
I have no words. She is Sauron. I think the way that she uses words to hurt other people. Yeah.
Like grabbing his pain, acting the victim to get him to feel sorry for her, and then lying to him saying, hammer and tongs, living a happy, comfortable life as a blacksmith, doing what you love, that clearly makes you happy and everything.
And he's good at it too.
Yeah, you're good at it. No, that won't give you peace. But going to war and facing horrors, that definitely will.
Even though it hasn't.
Yeah, and she's like, there is no peace there is no peace to be found for you here. It's like, seems like there is.
Yeah, he's had a pretty good. Ever since coming out
enjoying
president,
it. He's
part of the guild now. Yeah. Things looking up for him. It's only when you show up and make a storm of it that things go wrong.
No lasting peace in any path. No lasting peace in any path at all, but that which lies across the sea. That is insanely manipulative because it's just blatantly false. It's like you're saying there is no path in which he could find peace. No, like getting married, having a family, pursuing good things. None of that. No path at all.
Go to
you
war.
Have no chance at all apart from doing what I want. Otherwise, you will hate your life and you'll be miserable. It's just so manipulative. Freaking hell. And the writers, I bet the writers think, Gladriel's so kind and caring, and look at her. I think the writers are that deluded that they cannot see how vile this scene is. Gosh.
I just hope no one looks up to Gladriel as a good role model.
This is awful, awful stuff. Gosh. Oh, my goodness. So, I'll sorry for it all. Hammer and tongs, no peace. And, like, if he's very obviously Sauron, Gladriel, it's his fault, like her fault. Everything that happens from now on, he was ready to just, calm down.
Retire.
Just, yeah, I'm going to make things at a smith. And it's all her fault. He's pulling back into it, all for her own selfish reasons. It's only for her, right? Because why is she doing it? Because she can't stop. She has to be right. Like, how could you? It's hard to imagine a more awful character than this. And when I say the context of this is that unintentionally awful. Like, yeah, you could make a mustache twirling villain, but it's so obvious. Like, this is like so unintentionally awful, yet they think she's great. It's amazing. It's amazing. And she's the main character, right? Gosh. And now she's like, I have peace. I fought for centuries seeking to earn my peace. When she just is like, your apology or what, I won't give you peace.
Has she tried not fighting?
But she literally said she doesn't have peace, and his, saying sorry won't give her that peace. But now she's like, I have fought centuries seeking to earn mine. It's like, you're just contradicting yourself, lady. And this is how you earn yours. Doing what I say, fighting for me. I hate it. I hate it. Okay, the next scene, it's the evil elf guy, and the villagers are there. They swear loyalty to him, Sauron, and then he hits them. He's like, oh, what, you're not Sauron? Yeah, we already knew that. Okay, kind of obvious. And he's like, we'll swear loyalty to whoever you are. He's like, you are Sauron, are you not? And so that's him saying, no, he's not, which is obvious from the beginning. It was a clear misdirect. And then he's like, kill your friend. It's like, oh, yeah, classic bad guy move.
Blood can bind.
Yeah, swear. And he's like, oh, don't do it to me. And then they cut away because, of course, they don't have the balls to show something like that. And then he's shooting a bow. I didn't get to see close enough. But the elf comes to give him advice. And it's like,
you're not my real dad. That's the vibe I got from this. You're just my stepdad.
Yeah. And so I had a note at the end of the Galadriel not Sauron scene, and I was just like, that scene was complete crap, utter nonsense, but they play music like somehow it was meaningful. It was, spoken, and it was like so important, but it was just arbitrary gibberish. Okay, and so this right here, like, took me over 200 years to develop the bravery that's keeping me standing here. It's like, oh, so you've been a bloody coward for ages.
200 years.
It's like 200 years? Okay. It's not inspiring, but it is like, but hey, you've developed it so quickly. It still doesn't make you look good, mate. And then, like,
random like just saying, lift your arm, you'll shoot better this way. Then the boy's like, I need to show you something. And he shows him the sword. And what the elf guy knows.
I was just wondering if you noticed he suddenly has elf armor back when he came back in just a shirt.
Holy crap! Where did he get that? See what I mean? I'm numb. Like, really, Blade Bad Things just under the radar because I'm so sick of this crap.
Wow.
Yeah, you're right. Where did he get his armor back? He was wearing rags before.
Yep, the elves have left. They've taken everything with them, and he magically has armor again.
And if it was in the tower, the townspeople would be wearing. They scoured the tower for anything, and all they could find was a couple of spuds. There was no resources left. That thing was bone dry empty.
This show's broken.
This show is friggin' broken, man.
They're saying that it's Amazon delivery.
Yeah. And then the boy reveals to him that he's got a sword, or a sword. It's the swordy thing, and the Discount Legolas divines a lot of information from this thing.
He knows a lot somehow.
Somehow. And basically that's the sword thing is a key for reasons. We don't know why or how it's a key, but it is a key.
Conjured by some forgotten craft of the enemy. Forgotten craft? Do they not do this anymore? Does he know that somehow?
Yeah. It's very...
To enslave the ancestors too. He knows all of that.
How does it do that? Oh, there's information that he just seems to pull out of nowhere and then questions that's not answered. And then it's revealed that there's a mural hidden behind tree branches and it has the evil sword of Sauron there. And I'm wondering, did the elves build the tower here to guard? I'm wondering if this is a door and the sword opens it because it's a key. Who knows? We'll see.
I mean, if it does, I'm going to just be like, what? Because I think it's Elrond doing the nursery rhyme conveniently in that certain space that he was because of the secret doorway. It's isn't it convenient that he brought the sword to this location?
Yeah. Amazing stuff. And then basically he gets all, we're going to die. Is he the one that says when they march?
No, she does.
She does, okay, yeah.
Because he's like, oh, you should be brave and whatever. And then once she finds out, she turns completely.
Yeah. When they march on us, we're all going to die, essentially. Well, she's confident, isn't she? So there's that, and she's ready to give up. But we do see that the orcs are pretty darn close because he looks over and we see heaps of torches. What also threw me is... And when they march upon us, the tower will fall, and then they look up to the tower. There's no sound or clue. That's what causes them to look up. And when we look up, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Well, why are they looking at the tower?
The tower will fall. Foreshadowing? They'll somehow make it out live.
Yeah.
They're somehow going to do some weird...
Yeah. Well, no, Galadriel will arrive and save them all just at the crucial moment, So... The orcs are walking, and I'm just now wondering, to what level are they affected by light? Do they even need torches to see at nighttime? You'd think they would just be able to see at night. But, okay, torches, lots of them on the march. You see them all there, and they're approaching a tower. Oh, be afraid, dangerous. And we go to Durin and Elrond. So, it turns out, they're walking away with the table, basically. The slab of rock. And I'm thinking, do they have carts? They're just going to carry it the whole way? And they say it's a long journey, so horses, carts, they just don't exist. The elves just walk everywhere.
It's so dumb.
It's really dumb. And then Elrond basically says, you made it up, didn't you? And finds out, yeah, he did. He's just been wanting a new table. So that just makes the setup as to the joke just not work because remember it was a sacred stone. But if it wasn't sacred stone, they probably got it in any, random place.
It also just kind of makes Durin a bit of a jerk. because he's making them do all this stuff for a joke. I get.
He's a child. Let him get away with the joke.
Sure,
but the setup now doesn't work.
Yeah, it's kind of a jerk move.
So there's a line which maybe I'll give it a nod. There's an issue. There's a problem. Someone says. It's not the weight of the table that burdens me, he says. And so if we bring it down, I'll let it play out and get the lines. So why don't you come out with it, he says, and then he's like, because a burden shared may either be halved or doubled. I'll give it that line. That's one of the few times where they might have just succeeded is, all right. You might have pulled it off after how many episodes of attempts?
5 hours.
But they can't, be consistent. They can't keep a good thing just because they have to then just totally ruin it after it. Because after that line, Duran just says, out with it. So, enough with the quail sauce.
Whatever that is.
It's like, give me the meat and give it to me raw. He wants it raw.
Out of context, that could just be...
You had a half good line there, and then you follow it up with that. And quail sauce, gosh. Okay, so then Elrond, he admits to lying the whole time. He goes, all right, basically, I've not been truthful with you. What's like, I have not been truthful to you, Duran, which we know. He's been lying to his teeth. Duran's like, okay, well, what is it? I do not come to Cousin Doom for friendship, but ambition. It's like, yeah, we get that. Now, this is the thing, right? From what they set up with Duran, we could bring this up now, this should piss him off, like, so massively.
Yeah, he was really mad before.
He was really mad. This is a betrayal of everything. And then Elrond, the entire time, has been saying, I'm here for my friend. We're friends. I'll swear on everything that I won't reveal the secret and everything like that. And then he comes out with that. It's like, by the way, that was all bullcrap. I've just been manipulating you for my own ambition. Duran would flip out. But the fact that Duran's like all chummy with him now, bullcrap. Don't believe ya. Yeah.
Also, how long has it been since he told him a secret? Not that long.
Yeah.
Like,
a week?
He tells them
a month?
They go back to the elves, and then immediately everyone's like, hey, everyone, guess what I found? Yeah. Obviously, Duran's going to be like, for an elf, you spilt that secret pretty quick.
Yeah.
Usually takes you centuries before you do anything.
It's pretty amazing, right? So Duran just is fine with it. And then Elrond says that they need the Mithril. My kind must either abandon these shores by spring or perish. And I don't know, like Duran doesn't like elves, and this isn't actually like they're all going to die. They have an option. Just go back home.
Yeah.
Dwarves don't like elves. Elves saying something's going to happen or they all have to leave. Leave the dwarves. Everyone hates the elves. It's like a win-win. Duran, you get what you want. But Duran's like, oh, we can't.
Kind of my bestie, leave me.
Yeah, like perish somehow. Like perish how? They're not going to perish. They have an option to survive. Just leave. And even perish, right? They just lose their immortality. And I think the dwarves would be fine with that as well. It's like, oh, guess what, elves? You have to come back to the earth like the rest of us and live like mortals.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll cause you to pull your heads in and stop being up yourselves.
Maybe you'll finally come to my weddings.
Yes! And so, everything, like the things that was set up about Duran does not make me feel like you would be so concerned about this. You'd be like, sounds good. But instead is like, the fate of an entire race, is in my hands. And look, Elrond, our immortal souls will dwindle into nothing, which just means they lose their immortality. Like, it doesn't seem like they're going to die. It's just like, the context of the show, separate to the lore, is it seems like they will just lose immortality. They'll live out their lives as normal.
Swept away by the tides of time, so you'll be mortal, like the rest of us.
Sounds good and fair, about bloody time. But no, like, Duran, even after being betrayed, like massively by Elrond's lying through his teeth. The fact that this is the opportunity for the elves to finally get get out of here, leave us alone and come down to earth. Duran's like, oh yeah, this is pretty rough. And then So basically he says like, he says, so it appear the fate of entire, elven race is in your hands. It's like, yep.
Then he's like, oh,
Yep.
whose hands?
I'll have to do it. Take me after we find a way to convince my father. And I'm like, hang on. Durin, there are problems and logistics involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
Mithril, really valuable.
Rare.
Dwarves like it, not in large quantities. And your father has banned mining it. And now Durin is just committing to give insane, vast quantities, enough to, immerse the entire elven race in the light of mithril. That's like an insane amount. I can't even fathom how much that would be. And Durin's like, yeah, we'll do it. Okay, yeah, sure. Don't believe you, Durin. Don't give me this. Oh my goodness. And that's basically it. Under one condition, told these are the tables for me. Because it's supposed to be funny now, even though it's contradicting what the characters were doing, what they're setting up. And don't push your luck, elf. And there we go. And then cuts to, oh, look who's watching. He's so serious and so watching because reasons. Yeah. And then we've got not Sauron looking at the thing, and he's asked to be summoned. He puts it down and he leaves, but then he comes and grabs it again. So he just grabbed it off the table because he now will get it, because basically he's choosing to embrace being Sauron again, it seems like. Comes back and yoink. Wow, they dwell on this for a while, don't they?
That's the show, though.
Gosh. Get on. Ah, there we go.
It was a split second, too, of just...
All right. And so the next scene, they really want totally not Sauron to look like Aragon here. Mm-hmm. Like, gives you make that full screen. Like, holy crap. Yeah, not half of an Aragorn insert. No, not at all. We can bring that down. The armor looks so crap. It's like this fake scale painted, and his armor doesn't even look the worst,
no,
right?
Doesn't.
And his armor looks awful. And it's this big, the music is big. They're trying to make this big thing out of they're going to war or something. But look at this awful armor. So full screen this is just like, it looks like, I don't know, plastic, foam, paper stuff. And we see the Queen's armor, right? So there's a criticism of the Queen's armor, and we wondered if this would just be for promotional material.
Yeah, maybe they'd fix it in post, I thought.
They don't. Spoiler alert, they don't. Let's get to it. It might be close to here. Anyway, it's like all of Numenor is now on board, even though there's heaps of people that are against this. And so, gosh, that armor looks so cheap and awful. Look, there it is. Full screen this. What do we see here? What do we see? Fake printed on scale mail in the finished show. All right, if we bring it down. I mean, that's this, guys. See this chainmail print? That's what this. Oh, yes, so good. Budget 80 million just for season 1 or something like that. I forget how much.
Absurd,
that's insane. Oh my goodness. And again, all the cheering and everyone's on board, even though I thought they didn't want to do this.
Yes, they said 50% want to go fight in the war, 50% are against it.
And for something like this, does not make sense for the Queen to go. This is not the threat of her kingdom at risk, okay? No. And by her going, it really looks like she's heeding the beck and call of an elf, and she's leaving, right? Her authority seems to be, at risk or not stable in the least. It's so dumb politically, and we know what's going to happen. Like it's obvious. The other guy, Alfarazon, is going to seize power when she's away.
Yep.
So obvious. So yeah, it does make sense. And look how cheap this is.
Yeah, you can see it there as well.
It looks awful, man. And the Numenorians are supposed to be like super. When I say advanced, not like sci-fi, but almost like fantasy levels versions of sci-fi. It's just, and they look crap. For some reason, she's worried.
She's because against this war.
We see that Isildur, the kid, is armored up and is going too, and she's like, "Oh no."
I just don't get her motives either because like this is the end of the show now, but like both her father and her brother are fighting in the war. You'd think if she had some like military experience around her, knowing when we get sent off to battle, that's what we do because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But she's always like, no, war and peace and like no, everyone, we shouldn't be doing this.
And we find out, they still only have 3 ships for the expedition, this expeditionary force. And then it turns out that these ships can be docked. And so, when like Galadriel was on the boat getting shipped out, like that, they could just bring the ship into the dock. She just stood.
Everyone else rode. Oh, so awkward.
Show is so bad. All right, so everyone's getting aboard the ships. Seeing everyone getting aboard. Why are you here? Oh, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out he's going to be sweeping out stuff. He's got a low position. Suck it. The armor is just, we see it again and again, and it looks so bad. And I don't even know what style they're going for because the helmet has some kind of Anglo-Saxon influences with their upper things and the center point, but then the armor does not look Anglo-Saxon. It looks a bit more Greekish, Roman. And so it's this, there was a consistent style with Gondorian armor and Rohan armor. This is just like someone vomited out random different crap and splapped it together. But then, the moment that lasted for way too long.
No. Because you finished this before me and you came in and I was still watching it. And this moment lasted forever. I was like, I get it. She's getting on the boat. She's got armor now. Can we just finish the show already? But the whole time she's just like, I'm wearing a chest plate. Look at me and my golden locks, everyone.
It is that. We'll get to it. And they don't explain where this armor came from.
No, and it's her elven armor.
They might bring it up next episode, but this is full-blown elven armor. And so where did it come from? Why did the Númenóreans have it? We don't know.
Same place where the Discount Legolas got his.
They ordered it on Amazon.
It just appeared.
Because this is that has same design styling to the elves that we saw fighting the orcs of Morgoth in episode 1. Big flashback, and so her brother, his armor had similar kind of lines on it. And there is a controversy around this armor, and it's the symbol right here. That is the crest or sigil or something of Feanor. You know Feanor, the guy that made the Silmarils?
Yeah.
And the making of the Silmarils caused horrible things. His sons caused the kinslayings, everything like that. It's canon that Galadriel friggin' hates the House of Feanor. And people have been asking, why would she never wear this? Why is she wearing it? And the answer is like, it was a gift to her. Like, yeah, pry it off. It's a symbol of someone you loathe and hate, and she's walking around pronounced like she's it's a deep cut. Only people, really into the lore know about this, but it's come up, right? I'm just still wondering where on earth it came from. I have reviewed the functionality of the armor on Shadiversity, so people can check that out if they're interested in seeing it. But my goodness, this is...
and again there you could just see
look at cloth. It. So, interestingly enough, the cloth here, that's the same kind of undergarment they're wearing underneath their surcoats, and it isn't really made to be presented as scale. What it is, it's stitching in a scale pattern.
I did see that, yeah.
And so if you look closely, you can see it's mostly stitching, where the Queen is actually like the Queen's armor, it's painted on to make it look like scales, where this is just, it looks like a type of stitching resembling somewhat scale, kind of like an underlay gambus and things.
So it's somewhat legitimate. But
it still looks cheap as crap.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
The Queen's one's worse.
The Queen's one's, it's actually painted. It's like, what? Oh my goodness. And so they dwell on this for ages. Everyone is just in awe of her. And so I'm skipping forward. It's funny, we're missing all the parts. Oh, look at them. They're just like, ooh. I thought they didn't like elves. But anyway, she's there. She meets up with totally not Sauron. They grasp. Where is the gauntlets on this thing? And it's got weird. The armor's got issues. As I said, I reviewed it on there. And everyone, she was right. She got her way. She gets the boats and the army.
How long did it take her to get to this point.
Yeah, I know.
When did she come to Numenor? Was it, 2-3 episodes ago?
Yeah. Sorry. Elendil's helmet looks weird. Like, I know sometimes there are parallels. I just don't like this design.
I feel like I could knock it off easily.
But look how cheap this armor down here looks. If we bring this full screen. So look at down here, guys. Gosh, looks awful. All right, we can bring it back down. Oh no, wrong button. I'll bring back the episode and we'll continue. But this is basically it. We're towards the end of it. If it loads up, because we were commenting on how bad the armor is, but now the episode won't load because I accidentally closed it off.
There we go.
There we are. We're back. But no, that's actually the end. Ready? And then they sail off and credits roll. For Middle Earth. Huzzah!
Yes!
And he looks away. If I skip forward, and they sail away, and that's the credits. 3 boats. Episode
5.
And then they need to try to fit under that bridge.
That's a good point. I wonder if they'll fit. Maybe in perspective they will, but it does.
But the buildings don't change size much.
It's true.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. All right. Wow. That episode was awful. Really bad. Let's bring it down. Yeah, 2 out of 10 maybe. This show is not getting better. My goodness. But we got through it, guys. But hey, we still have super chats. We haven't forgotten about those, and we have them all saved. So we'll get all the super chats from the downstream, and I'll be able to combine them. But we're gonna finish it off with the super chats as well. Tell us what you guys think in the comments below. Now, Nathan, I might need you to read a couple of the first ones because I have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay. I can do that.
But we'll have this. It's loading. Our internet is slow because it's playing up, as you might have been able to tell. But hey, we're still streaming. We're still live at the moment. And we got through it. We did.
That's all that matters, I think, at this point.
Think of it. This show had it's the sword fighting, the forced, motivations and Galadriel, Sarah, and the crap with it's as bad as ever. It's not getting better. Okay, so we're bringing him up. Nathan is going to start us off, and I will join him to finish off. Wow, this is a lot of super chats. Oh no, there we passed it. So. Here we are. I think the first one is right here from Dragon Dracade. I'll be right back and finish off super chats. Just leave it up.
Yeah, just remember to breathe.
Yes,
that's the first super chat. First super hit from you know what? Let me just get these controls up a little bit more. There we go. All right. So Dragon Dracage for $5 said, 3-hour review seems to be the limit. Lol. No, it's not. We will go for longer if we have to. And you know what? I'm not in the right one. So let me keep scrolling down to find the right one, because you know what, Drakage, that was your other super chat. I'm going to go and find the other one. Painful. Okay, what the hell is that? So yeah, wow. And then Drakage, you gave us one for $20 before the saying, breathe, Shad, lol. When Shad gets very passionate, it won't take breath until his body forces him to. But he's fine. He's still fine. He's all good. Crazy Tiger Person for $2 thank you very much. Said Guy was right about Shad going to off himself. Well, you know what? It wasn't Shad that did him to himself. It was this show. This show was honestly unbearable. Yeah, I've never been more miserable. Actually, you know what? It's not true. I've had worse things done to me, to be realistic with you. But yeah, this show is not enjoyable at all to watch. I have to force myself to come here and do this, but you know what? I do it for you all because we have fun in the end. It's very cathartic to do this. CCAD for $20 thank you. You said to make you believe us. I'm not sure what you want us to believe in, but thank you for the super chat. P. Yeah, time. I always see you around, but I never know how to say name. For 25 HKD, please review Jason Ampak and Nick Nicole's Forgotten Ruin books in the future, and stuff like weapons used by humans and new gems, and in the new James Cameron Avatar series. Books I talked about before, saying that it's a bit hard to review books because they're a lot longer to consume, and to really get the nitty-gritty things which we like to do here, it would take us far too long to get a book review out. But you know what? I think in our downtime, we'd always like good suggestions for books, good media. And you know what? I reckon the new Avatar series, maybe if there's some interesting weapons that Shad could review, he'd probably look at them because relevant to pop culture and, you know, clickable video. From DOH Van Key for 5 USD. I'm going ahead and getting my super chats in since it's very late. But Viscery's actor confirmed that the disease he has is leprosy. My spelling is bad. Is that from House of Dragon?
House of the Dragon?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that.
So, yeah, apparently the actors confirmed that it's leprosy.
Alrighty.
We're
Really?
up to Yonak.
Yarak Tractman for 30 ILS. Thank you, sir. Says, unfortunately, I won't be able to be here for the stream, but I look forward to watching this later. And your great commentary, stay on watch. And you too. Thank you very much. And I will do an edit where I combine them, and I'll re-upload it so it's all in one go. And I might just put these streams in unlisted once the new one is out, so you can watch it while it's here. But yeah. Awesome, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it as well. And in regards to Viserys having leprosy, that is interesting, because leprosy is, well, you can catch it from other people, you know. Very cool. Okay, so John Hughes for 5 GBP. Amazon ought to have hired the Born of Hope fanfic authors. They did a 25,000 euro. They did for 25,000 euro. What AZ can't do for what AZ can't Amazon, yeah, I can't do for 1 billion produce a faithful Lord of the Rings adaptation. Yeah. Dover Keen for $10 US says, I remember you were talking about House of the Dragon Episode 3's ending battle and why all the crab feeders men ran out. I personally apply headcanon of a prince might die. I want to watch a sight to see. Yeah, I'm not sure that gets me there, but if it works for you, I'm glad it does. And thank you for the super chat. I am friendly 88 for $5 Australian. How are you? Says, oh Shad, I feel so bad. You have to suffer this crap. Don't have an aneurysm. I survived. And does Elendil's helmet pick up Night's Watch on that antenna extension? I don't think they, because if they did, they would learn a thing or two. Sarah Gould for $10 US says, I saved this observation for you, Night's Watch. I figured out what happened to the plot. They used so much of it for armor, there was none left to move the story forward. Plot armor. I see what you did there. Seems very like clever. It. Keller Dixon for $1 US says, just finished Nerdrotic stream time for some Shad. Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Skits 3D for $2 US says, someone I know calls half-foots discount leprechauns. That would be a compliment. They're not even that. I am friendly 88 for $5 Australian. Again, thank you. Says, why does it feel like the show writers have never been outside in their life? A scribble on toilet paper carries more weight. Sometimes those scribbles on toilet paper can be pretty good. Strawman for $5 Australia says, so the big bad plan is block out the sun. Oh, my, I get it. And I get it. He is actually Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Also, how she get her armor back after dumping it. Good question. Good question.
So many good questions that will never get answered.
Yeah, it does seem like they want to block out the sun because the evil bad guy says, you know, the sun will, you know.
Yeah, won't shine soon anymore. Like, I wish you could feel it the way I do.
Dragon Drekage for $50 US. Thank you, sir. I got to go, Shad. Would love to hear your review and critique of 2003 Hulk with Eric Bana. Will personally, but kindly keep tasking till you do. Well, thank you. Keep asking, sir, and maybe someday we will. Matthew N for $10 Australian. So, given we know that Elendil, Isildur, and Anarion all took their own ship to escape from the ruin of Numenor, that means they made up 3/5 of Numenorium's navy all on their own. Strawman for $5 Australia says, do you know why a boat floats and a rock does not? Because it's a rock. That's logic.
That would make more sense than the show.
Smarter than the show. The X Store for $5 Australia says, by episode 3, I was at times 2 speed. By episode 5, I gave up. Just popped in, no idea what's going on. And even if I did, I reckon I'd be worse for wear. It's hard to get through this show. It is so bad. I am Friendly 88. Again, thank you, sir, for $5 Australian. Chop off Galadriel's and be done with it and give her... and have her come back. At least the reincarnation would be law. Rings of power designed to kill brain cells. Seems like that. Gorbs for 5 GBP says, for the greater good of the caravan, we will leave you behind, steal your wheels, and eat your food. No, really goes off the trail. The hobbits are awful. I love Scotch for $2 US says, great sword work, love heart. The sword work was amazing. Rose and Dragon 2140 for $5 US says, Shad should sue Bezos for the emotional damage this show is causing. It should be a class action lawsuit for emotional damage. Everyone could do it. I am Friendly 88 again. Thank you for $10 Australian. Just waiting for the Knights of Ni to be appeased with the shrubbery in order for Galadriel to get her army and be taught to sword fight, then cut down the mightiest tree with a herring. Oh, yeah, the Knights of Ni could teach him a thing or two. I need to have a drink. Nathan, if you could take the next few.
So the next one is from Dragon Lord 1125 with 2000 KRW. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And here I thought Numenorians were warrior race.
They were supposed to be.
Apparently not, though. Next one is from Frashfren 4x4 with 20 USD. At the beginning of the stream, it sounds like the gain is too high somewhere in the input and creating distortion clipping in the audio. It's credited to Bass, which is responsible for new mic sound. Anyway, a bunch of mic stuff, talk. We'll get there. We'll fix it.
I'll fix it in post for the upload. It should be a bit better. All right. So Crazy Tiger Person for $5 US says, is it just me? It just me, but do the wolves look more like Daedon? I don't know that wolf.
They didn't look like the normal wolves in this episode. They look different.
Yeah, they look weird. Antibra for $5 says, you two should read Silmarillion because you're not nearly as angry as you should be. The law breaking in this show is heinous. I have heard things. Not as what you may have heard, but I've heard things. Skids 3D, thank you again, Skids, for $5 US. Says, yes, Galadriel, there are many ways to kill an orc. One such way is remove their hood. You're right.
Just sunlight in general. Yeah. That could be a good way.
Skids also says, for $10 US, I got a quote Mask of Zorro. Do you know how to use that thing? Yes. The pointy end goes into the man. That's right. That's correct. Sentinel Rex for $5 US says, causing your enemy to suffer before they expire is against the Geneva Convention. Galadriel is a war criminal. Our hero, everyone. May God help us. Talking about stabbing him in the gut. Gutting him, yeah. Bridge Burner Boyo for 2 BGN. The rest of the hyenas from Lion King have arrived. I am Friendly 88 for $5 Australian. Just remember, Galadriel needed therapy because she couldn't handle the fight scenes. Look at how many times it's cut. Lol, the stuff blocking the shots. Yeah. Movie actors are not the same as they once were. They once were like committed to the role, did hard things. Now they need coaches to help them through all the stuff. Fox Blue for $20 Australian. Can we get a fight comparison? Which fight was worse, Galadriel versus the Numenorians or Rey versus Praetorian Guard? I think Rey still was worse. It was so bad. I am Friendly 88 for $5 says, if I fought with my feet, Galadriel, I would be dead. Don't have that thing called Mary Sue armor. Must have hired the choreographer from The Last Jedi. There are some Last Jedi vibes. Killer 3000 AD for $10 Australia says, when Galadriel said the Numenorians, my name is Inigo Montoya, you killed my brother, prepare to die. I literally cried tears of joy. So original and brave. The Physicality Channel, $5 US, says, I only trained Aikido sword, but this still looks stupid. Untrained people have bad posture, balance, and economy of movement. They were like such noobs in that fight. Crazy Tiger Person $5 says his full strength gathered not only feminists, legions of shills from YouTube, Twitter users from their safe spaces, all will answer Bezos' call. Thank you. Carlo the Coffee Guys for $5 GBP says a Shadiversity video on the logistics of mounting an seaborne invasion with medieval tech could be a good way to school Rings of Bezos. Interesting. I might have to look into that. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. Carl Starr for 10 NZD. This is from the lady asking you to. This is for the lady asking you to of my comments. Okay, so the lady must have asked us about some of the comments. Well, thank you, and she appreciates it. She's had to duck out. She's thankful. Mr. Spencer for 20 Canadian says, I'm about 30 minutes back in the stream, but fight with your feet, not your arms. Hits me like a supposed adult film star saying,
Redacted.
Yeah. Censored. Absolute nonsense, if you know anything. It is absolute nonsense. I am Friendly 88 for $5 Australia says, Gilgalad should have been played by Peter, I think that is, from Full Frontal, an Aussie sitcom for those who don't know. Peter, fix during a sandwich for the troubles. Jamal Skywalker for €2 says, I heard about Mithril. Is this myth real? I see what you did then.
Nice pun.
Varan for $7.99 Australian. Good evening, lords. How does a fat half-foot exist? Good question. I mean, they eat berries, snails, travel a lot, and surely they burn a lot of calories. It's a good question. Good question. They wouldn't be able to collect a lot of food the way they live. Scruffy the Janitor for $4.99 US says, oaths were too important in Anglo-Germanic culture for Tolkien to ever have Elrond break one for this crap pot nonsense. I agree. And he broke it so easily, and then he's like, I can't break my oath. You already did. UP Shoot for €5. Thank you, sir. Says, remember episode 1? Put down your sword. Without it, what am I? My friend, I understand, Gailad, you're not putting it down. My friend, I am Friendly 88 for $5 Australia says, I can imagine Galadriel saying there is tempest in me, and one random guy in the background letting one rip and saying, there was one in me too. Nani Ziltsova for 20 QAR donates it. Thank you very much. Skits 3D. How many skits again? For $2 US says, they did The Witcher lesser evil. Boo. Mm-hmm. I'm Friendly 88 for $5 US says Galadriel has got the emote range of a plank of wood. The writers have no range at all. Elrond's chin could be used as a can opener. Hail Night's Watch and hail you. Thank you. Neil Lindgren for $1.99 US says, so next we find out Galadriel smiths the One Ring. It's all her fault. It's all her fault.
Yeah, basically.
Merlin for 50 GBP, thank you, sir, says, I really want to know if anyone at Amazon actually watches this show from start to finish before it went out to the public. I'd like to know as well. It's baffling, some of the choices. Anyone could have told the showrunners that the show was terrible and needs reshoots. This show is objectively dumb. Yes, and on top of that, it's objectively awful.
Yep.
Like, so bad. Dragon Cage for $5 US says, 3-hour review seems to be the limit, lol. You would think so, but no, it's not. We can go further. Further, Merlin for 5 GBP says, seems about right for me that the moment I post a super chat, the video died. I know.
It's okay, we still got to it. We still got to it.
Crazy Tiger Person for $5 US. I'd like to see the watch play medieval games like For Honor and other similar. We've done some video game streams, but it's all a matter of timing now. We don't have the time. Mohammed Al-Banari donates 100 QAR. Thank you very much. Going to quickly refresh and go back because there might have been just a couple more, and there's a couple more. ZFFJK, I'm not going to try and pronounce it, for €2 says hi, hello to you. Crazy Tiger Person for $5 US says, I'm terribly sorry I posted 2 questions. Love you guys. That's not fine. Questions are fine. You're welcome. Thank you for the super chat. Bombshus for 10 US says, Shad, you're wrong about the Elven afterlife. They don't die and wake up in Valinor. They go to the halls of Mandos to await rebirth to fight Morgoth when he returns at the end of time. I've heard that there is a chance that they can be reborn just in Valinor as well. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. Thank you very much for the super chat. Apple Manny Gaming for 5 Australia says, just reread the Fellowship, it's mentioned right at the start that half-foots are the most likely to settle in one place and are friends with dwarves. So they don't even travel. Juin Wong for $10 Australian says the actress flinched that easily. They should have shot the fight scene in reverse so that her enemies were always moving away during shoot. Couldn't have hurt the quality of the choreography.
You're not wrong there, my friend.
Not wrong. I'll refresh it. I think we might be up to date with the chats. Yes, we are. All right, there we are. Rings of the Power of the Rings. Episode 5 is completely crap. Not getting better. Oh, man. It's hard to get through, but at the same time, I love doing this with you guys. The chat is amazing. So I am looking forward to the cathartic roasting it rightly deserves next week. Hope to see you there. And as always, stay on watch.
Shadow of the Conqueror is the breakout debut novel by Shad Brooks.
Truly incredible. I absolutely loved this book. Honestly, it's one of the best books I've ever read. S. Keith Hall.
Now, Shadow of the Conqueror is coming to you in an epic graphic novel adaptation with the incredibly talented art of Mike S. Miller. This will bring its dark, confronting story to fans and new readers alike in another beloved format, making the story more accessible than ever before, and enabling current fans to enjoy it in new ways.
I was engrossed in the tale of the Conqueror. I laughed, cried, growled with anger, and shouted with joy. But also during this entertaining ride of emotion, I came away with mental growth and new perspective on the human condition. Andrew Johnson.
Mike is a 28-year veteran of the comic book industry, famous for his work on DC Comics' Injustice series and George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones-related graphic novels.
I've read so many novels I've lost count, fantasy genre or otherwise, but in my opinion, this is one of the best. Seaton 425.
The author of Shadow of the Conqueror, Shad Brooks, has been a fan of both comic books and Mike's work for many years, and is thrilled to be working with him to bring this graphic novel to the highest standards possible.
I don't typically listen to audiobooks multiple times, but this is my 4th time through and I'm loving it more each time. Highly recommend for anyone who loves fantasy action stories. C. Barker.
The book will be separated into 4 graphic novel volumes. This first one, entitled Enemies of Self, has 48 pages of stunning art visualizing the amazing and unique world of Everfall with some of the best work Mike has ever done.
It must be admitted that there was a large amount of skepticism when this book was recommended. However, a story that would leave the reader hooked and begging for more was not something that was expected. The overall plot and flow of the story was simply phenomenal. I highly recommend this book. It is filled with action, humor, love, hate, science, and the psychology of the human condition. History Rewriter.
Separating the book into 4 volumes gives great opportunity to adapt more of the work and even add new content not seen in the original novel. Far from being given secondary regard as a token adaptation that doesn't accurately represent the source material, the graphic novels are being made with the intent to form a crucial part of the Everfall story, revealing fascinating aspects to the characters and world not found in any other format.
Powerful and gut-wrenching. I laughed, introspected, winced, wondered, cried, and will be revisiting this world. Michael Larson.
At the time of launching this Indiegogo campaign, the graphic novel is completed and ready to print. This is not to fund the creation of the graphic novel, but to give you the chance to get your hands on it. We will be able to place the print order as soon as this launch campaign ends, and you will get the graphic novel in your hands much sooner without needing to wait for the graphic novel's completion. With the launch of the graphic novel, I'm very excited to announce that during this Indiegogo campaign, I will be releasing a refined version of Shadow of the Conqueror as a 2nd edition version. This is not the sequel, but a more refined and polished version of Shadow of the Conqueror. Conqueror, with an incredible new cover made by Chris McGrath. The second edition will at first be an exclusive in the Indiegogo campaign, where you will be able to get your hands on a limited edition version of the second edition novel with the graphic novel covers, which will not be available ever again once this launch campaign ends. And in addition to this, we've gone even further and made premium, high-class, display-quality, collector edition, leather-bound versions of the second edition novel and graphic novel, both of which will be available for a limited time during this launch campaign.
Way better than I thought it would be. Bought because I watched Shad on YouTube. I never thought his book would be as good as this is. Kinda blown away. Jevin Curley.
With special collector edition covers and limited Everfall merchandise, this is your one and only chance to secure these special versions of this phenomenal epic fantasy graphic novel. Just because the mainstream comic book industry is declining in both quantity and quality, doesn't mean we still can't make great graphic novels for those who love them and attract new fans to the format. Please share this Indiegogo campaign with as many people you feel would be interested and who would love to enjoy such a visually stunning and emotionally riveting story as this Chronicles of Everfall, Shadow of the Conqueror, Volume 1, Enemies of Self.